been hit.
The button has been pressed.
Baby. Roll with it.
The host has come in.
Mm-hmm.
Announcements have been sent. Now I'm back on the main screen. Let me just make sure that looks right. Yep, that looks right. Okay, cool. And now we do the 2-minute wait for people to show up, so I'm not just talking into a void.
If you scream into the void, does it scream back?
No, it's utter silence.
Roll with it.
It's deafening silence that makes you feel alone and cold and sad. I've got experience with that shit. It's not fun. And that's why we wait the 2 minutes.
Lost in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind.
Are you sure you YouTube VOD? That was not. Don't copyright claim me, bro.
Bruh.
Please.
Bruh.
That was not the original rendition of that song, I assure you.
Bruh.
I can't be as good as Kansas. I'm sorry.
I mean, like, it's hard. Kansas is mostly just flat fields and, like, tornadoes. It's the big fucking deal.
Spin.
Oh, whose fault is that? Should spin more. I didn't know you were a DJ.
Yo.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Fish coming at you with all the bass.
DJ Sprinted Fish.
Coming at you
Here to
with all
drop the
bass.
bass. She gonna drop the bass.
It's gonna flop all over the place.
Get you flopping out on the dance floor. Let's go.
Hello, my puppy.
I'll give them another minute. People is slow. At that point, they fucking missed the boat. They're gonna come in mid-monologue. I don't fucking care. I'm ready.
my God.
I'm ready to go. I'm excited for this one.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some good conversations going on. Just looking at, like, the behind the scenes, looking at how everybody ranked stuff, I'm like, this is gonna be good.
I should bring mine up. That makes sense.
Oh, hi, Mr. Midas.
Oh.
Hello.
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 I'll say hello as soon as I stop joking.
Fighting words.
I don't know about fighting words, but there's going to be, I feel like there's going to be some spirited discussions. Try not to die. Look, if I try not to die, I'll die. So I've been trying to die for the last 34 years, and so far, I've been disappointed. Fucking got him. Got him, Death. Anyway, let's go. Alright, so welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 3 of Spookshow Syndicate. The February episode. February. It's the month of romance.
Sure.
It's also the month of Black History. It is also the month of celebrating women in the horror genre.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, for being the shortest month of the year, February has a lot of multitasking to do.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's okay. It's a little bit longer this month.
it is one day longer. That's all you need to slam in the extra themes of the month. But tonight on Spookshow Syndicate, we're gonna focus on the romance angle, because there's really not much more capable of inspiring horror than love. The Trojans and the Greeks knew it. Bonnie and Clyde knew it, and the first person to look down Main Street to watch a child being born definitely knew it. To summarize the wide range of horrors love can manifest, we've diluted it into Valentine's Day. It's a holiday, although you don't get a day off for it. No one gives it a day off. No country in the world gives you a day off for Valentine's Day.
Nope.
It's a day where we set time aside to shower our significant others with dying flowers, cheap chocolates, and stuffed bears. It's a paltry offering compared to stories of the original St. Valentine, who boasts the accomplishment of having cured the daughter of his jailer of blindness. So, you know, unless you're curing your significant other's irritable bowel or restless leg on Valentine's Day, you're really just phoning it in. And you should do better. Not that it really matters, because Valentine's Day has gotten a serious phasing out. Instead of wandering out into the world to subject themselves to the nightmares of speed dating and video dating and online dating profiles, the sad and the lonely now take to the internet to wallow in their sad loneliness. And I get it. I too have suffered the misery of sitting around behind a glowing screen, surrounded by empty cans of Red Bull and half-eaten pizza that didn't taste particularly good when it was fresh 2 days ago, scowling at yet another vapid blast of hollow sentiment slung out into the cyber realm to celebrate some joke of a holiday, while the only thing I've got to keep me company is the emotionally disconnected but equally sultry gaze of legendary Serbian porn star Irene Dimova. I get it! But I'm here to tell you, posting about how Valentine's Day is nothing more than a Hallmark holiday made to sell candy and overpriced cards isn't the way. Sneaking up behind a couple eating their Valentine's dinner at a reasonably priced restaurant and making gagging noises until they both vomit into their fully loaded chips is not the way. And photoshopping Irene Dimova's head onto a picture you took with your hot cousin last summer to convince the world you're not as alone as they think you are is definitely not the way. The way is horror movies. Specifically, horror movies dealing with all the nasty ways love can go wrong. I tell you, it'll have you sitting back in your crusty recliner and smiling to yourself, because you'll know how bad love can go, and you can point and laugh at the dum-dums getting maimed and killed, and know you'll never be at risk of such a thing. And if you don't know where to start, we're going to give you 4 movies to get you started. Take a sip here. From 1999, we have Takashi Miike's Audition, the tender story of a lonely widower just looking for love by way of holding a fraudulent film audition, and the yandere who thinks he might just be the one. From 2001, we have Valentine, where the angelic Cupid mask killer is looking for a little revenge on the hot chicks from middle school who slighted him in the hopes that just one of them might be the woman of his dreams. From 2008, we have DeadGirl, the story of a small-town love triangle, square, between a young man, the hot girl he enjoys stalking, his sociopathic best friend, and a clothing-impaired cadaver. And from 2011, we have Comforting Skin, a movie that reminds us that it's very important to focus on your self-care. At least until your self-care starts focusing on you a little too much. So sit back, pop a little blue pill, break into that box of chocolates you bought for that special someone who put out the restraining order before you could give it to them, and prepare yourselves for Tainted Love. We're in. Let's go.
Best monologue ever.
Thank you.
You are a brilliant genius, and I love you. Can I marry you again?
What?
Can I marry you again?
I mean, it would be complicated and tricky.
Yeah, do you like your little heart kettle?
I do. I like the layout.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
You guys
It's gorgeous.
are very welcome. I enjoy doing these so much. I
They're
gotta
really
figure
good.
out what I want to do for next month. I don't know yet.
Don't look at that.
Shamrocks?
So anyway, how you guys doing?
Yeah, but like a theme to it. Oh,
Hello?
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, good.
Oh my god, I'm going through the notes to like get them lined up properly because we're going chronologically, and the first movie I watched was Valentine, and I'm remembering now just how many fucking notes I put down for Valentine.
Oh my god.
Wait, Audition. Yeah, it's gonna be at the bottom. Oh, that's easy. Like, I wrote, like, next to no notes up for Audition.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I wrote notes. Most of mine were after.
I
the
wrote-
fact, 'cause
yeah, I
just too
wrote a
busy
few.
staring at the movie.
Yeah,
But-
I was basically, because it had been, like, I've seen all of these. Audition has definitely been, it was definitely the longest span of time for Audition. Well, no, technically I think maybe it's been longer since I've seen Valentine, but I saw Valentine a lot. So I think it was fresher in my head. Even though I'd seen Audition after the fact. But Audition.
Is that the one we're going with first?
Yeah, that's where we're starting. What order do we
Okay.
want to go in?
I guess chronologically works because, like, in order from youngest or from oldest to newest.
Well, yeah, that's the order of the movies. I meant order of who would like to speak on Audition's behalf first?
I say we go in the order of the hearts. So Kettle,
Oh, okay,
Oh.
that works.
Oh.
Nef,
my.
Fish,
Yeah,
and
contestant
then you.
number 1 through 3.
Suitor number 1.
Yeah, suitor number 1. What say you about Audition?
I really liked Audition. It was one of those like kind of slow burn movies that really I really enjoyed the like late 90s, early 2000s Japanese aesthetic anyway, and like that whole like businessman thing and that bar that him and his associate were drinking at in the beginning. So
Mhm.
I found all that to be quite comfy. And also very, very scary because obviously the girl yeah, she
She was Yandere years before Yandere Simulator came out.
yeah, the thing that I watched it last night, and the thing that really stuck with me and like spooked me and I felt was like the turning point to like here's when shit gets weird is when he calls her again and she's just sitting in the room all like huddled up
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
and the phone rings and that grin just pops up on her face
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yup.
the fucking bag thing starts rolling around. I'm like, all right, what's going on here? Like-
that is the moment when I feel like that movie becomes a true Takashi Miike film. Because up until that point, it's really slow and really straightforward, and is just kind of like a weird, like almost romance drama. And then that scene happens, and then from there forward, it's just further levels of batshit insanity.
Yeah.
What about you, Neff?
I love Takashi Miike at this point. I love him to death. I cannot wait to watch more. I will own his entire movie thingy maboober collection at some point in time. Not just for you, but for myself, because I do genuinely enjoy it. He's brilliant. He starts it off as just being so unlike his films that I've seen so far, where it's very normal, Disney movie start, mom dies, there's the dad and the son, and they're getting along, and then you see the son is grown up, that even though he doesn't have his mom, he's grown up pretty well.
Yeah, he's a pretty well-adjusted kid. Yeah.
And the father, apparently, if you look worn out, you should just go get yourself a wife.
Go get yourself a new wife. Yeah, go get yourself laid, Dad.
Yeah, he could have avoided the whole thing. Now, granted, this girl may have advanced with the times, but if this took place like today, just be like, I don't need to set up all these auditions, man. I'm just gonna get on Tinder, do some swiping. Like, you're gonna find yourself a great lady on there that way.
Yeah, if they did a modern remake of Audition, it would literally, it would have to be like via Tinder or something.
Yeah.
That was my first thought. Was like setting up all these auditions. I'm like, why do they do? Oh, right, it's 1990.
It's such a weird premise. The whole like his friend is like a film producer, so he's like, oh, you want to look for a new lady? Like, I've got the perfect idea for how you can meet a bunch of women in like short succession, and basically just sets up the equivalent of speed dating, but under the guise of it's an audition for a film.
Well,
like,
speed
it's
dating
so
is also
weird.
only for him.
Yeah, it's only for him. Like, he just gets to see this rotation of, like, 30 beautiful women come in to audition for this fake role. Like, it's such a weird, like, that's prior to when it goes completely batshit insane. Like, that's even the initial premise still has that hint of Miike,
And
where it's like, this is weird, man. Like, who the fuck does this? Like, really? Like, okay. But they set it up pretty reasonably. Like, okay, you get it.
The first 45 minutes of that movie is comfy sailing.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Straight up.
Comfy. It depends, I think, on your viewing state. It's either incredibly comfy or you're just like, so when's the dismemberment happening? Like, hurry the fuck up. Depending on your
a bit slower too, so like I knew to expect that, so it didn't really like, bother me. And I was just enjoying the aesthetic so much. I was like, I'll watch these guys talk in that bar all day. Like,
oh yeah, it's gorgeously shot.
I think my favorite part, honestly, is when you sit there and you listen to the music composition of the film, especially like in the beginning opening scene when he's walking there with his toy or his arts and crafts project.
Oh right, yeah.
By the way, child at the beginning whose arts and crafts skills are good, but not good enough to stop his mother from dying.
Yeah. Fucking do better in arts and craft, you little bitch.
I know, right? But like the composition, it's fitting. I mean, at least until the end credits. But it's fitting because it's haunting and beautiful, and it sets a very somber mood, and then it has also like these backbeats to it that have very like mysterious and foreboding. Like the music does a very good job of that, of kind of hinting that something's not quite right before they reveal that something's not quite right. Like music plays a pretty big deal into it, and it's very light and flowy, but very haunting. Like the entire movie is haunting. Yeah. But like the music just pushes it home, and I think whoever, and unfortunately I did not look up who composed it, but the composition was beautiful. I felt it fit the film very well. Again, until the end credits. The end credits just fucking. There was the Takashi.
Oh yeah. It was like
watched so far.
It was like some Japanese punk rock band, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. Fish.
So my first experience with Takashi Miike.
Yeah.
Completely in love with it. It was, to me, a peek into a normal, and I say normal, event into someone's life.
Right.
Like that's what the beginning was to me. We see a scope, a moment, a fraction of this man whose wife is dying, kid, like Neffy said, grew up really well, and then I had the same reaction as Kettle, honestly, to like the whole point where she smiles. I think my note was her smile is the epitome of creepy as fuck.
Oh yeah, it is horrifying.
And her character itself, like, I like serial killers. I like true crime. It was so like, oh my god, if someone was this good at acting a personality, this is probably how they would do it. Like, you're that far disassociated from who you actually are because of abuse and etc. And this is who you've become. This is the monster that was made, and it was still so human. And I think that's what scared me. Plus the mind fuck. I'm still not sure what happened at the end, if it was real or not.
Right? Yeah, and that's classic Miike. But yeah, like the way, like her performance is especially amazing, just because like when she's not full-blown psycho, she seems like a perfectly nice young woman.
Yeah.
Very friendly, kind of demure and a little shy, maybe with some trauma in her past, but she's gotten over it and she's working through it. And then you see the flip side of that coin, where she is just completely fucking mental.
Yeah. And you can tell too, like when she's being nice too, because it's like you've studied this. This is a script for you, and you've studied your culture and noticed how polite they are. So you're purposefully being polite. You're saying the right things. You've looked up the back end of it, because if he says one thing, you've got to counter with the next. And if you kind of, it's like improv, but studied improv.
Mm-hmm.
So that was creepy to me.
I feel like what was even creepier to me, watching it through this time, like the smile definitely is the hinge between like this is like kind of a sane movie to this is a Takashi movie. But even before that, there's that brief period where he's not calling her, and we get that first glimpse into her apartment, and you kind of see the sack, but it's not moving, and she's still like hunched over, just right next to the phone, waiting. And it's almost as if for the period of time when they're not together and she's at home, she is completely shut down and just waiting. Mm-hmm. She's just she is a shark just waiting for the bite. Mm-hmm. Which is almost even more horrifying, because it's like until if he bites, like she's just waiting for that moment so that she can go after him. And until then, she's not doing anything else. She's not going out. She's not doing anything. She is literally just waiting there as long as it takes for him to phone her up, which is really creepy.
Yep, a little bit.
I also wanted to mention the it's like she was doing kind of the whole traditional girl, like, and kind of fit into what he wanted, but at the same time he ignored so many red flags.
Oh, like, yes.
We can't contact anybody this girl's ever known. Oh, it's no big deal. You can only love me. Oh, it's no big deal. Like,
yeah, sure. I won't think too deeply into this, and the fact that, like, you know, I still probably have feelings for my dead wife, and, you know, I kind of love my son. But that's not how she means that. She means romantic love exclusively. So, like, it's fine. Mm-hmm. Or just how easy he buys the, like, she says that she has the not so much an agent, but the guy who's
contact at the record company.
Yeah, the contact who's looking after her, and then his filmmaker friend looks into it, is like, that guy's been missing for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knows where the fuck he is. And then he questions her on it a little bit, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, like, I just kind of made that up, and like, I don't actually know him. And he's like, okay, well, that explains that. I guess we can date. No red flags here.
Victim blame, but man, he was.
And
this is just from my opinion, but it's like you interviewed all those other beautiful ladies.
Mm-hmm. Some of them took their clothes off.
Oh, they did, and it was great. But I'm sure you could find someone matching most of those criteria, and you could find some people that are like, oh yeah, I worked with her for a few years, and she's not a psycho.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
But he was even before the audition, he was already locked in on her. Like she had already managed to.
From the sob story.
Yeah, she had already managed to land the hook.
He told her, I think this is the line that got me and made me laugh the most, because I'm like, oh, the foreboding in it. Take life very seriously. I was like, I bet she does. She's very serious when she's taking them lives.
The great thing in that scene is just like he's been silent the whole time, and then finally he opens his mouth and his friend just looks at him like, what? You waited all this time and this is what you're deciding to say? Like, are you out of your mind? You're being fucking weird right now. Stop. Like, they're gonna figure out what we're doing. Shut up.
Yeah, it I think my favorite part is like, because knowing what the movie was and what to kind of expect, you know, I was just like, once they centered in on the main female villain, I was looking at her and I'm like, I don't see her that way. Like, she's just too demure. She's too
she does not look like what she is.
No, I was like, I think I said it to you while we were watching it. I cannot wait to see her go psycho. Like, I cannot wait to see this. And she does. And I think my favorite thing is when she was pushing the acupuncture needles into him. And
Yeah.
The fucking psychotic glee she had. Well, when she was doing that, and also when she starts hacking off his feet, like that psychotic, like
It's
like
almost
oh my,
childlike.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's like this
she's stuck in
childlike
that
glee
childhood. Yeah.
as she's doing this really fucked up thing, and that's just like incredibly unsettling.
It really is, but it's so good. Like I just it was so well done, and like even when it started getting a little fucky, like it still kind of made sense.
A little.
It still it made
look, Fish.
sense.
Here's the thing about that, Fish. Compared to other Miike films, and Neff has now seen 2 other full Miike films plus a short film that he did.
Right.
This is tame compared to other Miike films. Like if Audition left you wanting to watch other movies of his, that's awesome. But strap in, because like you ain't seen nothing
this
yet.
This man is insane, and I love him.
I'm excited because it hit that psychological horror for me, where it screws with your brain in both time and space. Because at the end, I was like,
yeah, the ending is
so it didn't happen because the dog.
Yeah,
I was
so
I was
mad.
like, the dog died.
that was an explicit, not dog death, but dog corpse.
And then I went, okay, so he's actually dead. Did this happen? What the hell? Like, I wasn't sure what was real and what wasn't real at the end, and that's the psychological horror that I love, because it screws with my brain.
Right. Yeah, no, it really does, and it's. Oh, I can't get over it. Like, I would watch it again gladly, no problems.
I would watch it again, but I would cover my eyes and ears just like I did the first time at the part where the guy comes out of the bag and she feeds him. I was the whole time I had to sit there like this. I was like, nah, I can't do this.
So yeah,
he was hungry.
He had to eat. That man had to eat.
Yeah.
He'd been in that sack a very long time. Any meal will do.
Fish pukes on local TV show.
Oh no.
Oh no.
But yeah, Miike is the kind of guy, like, he's done a lot of movies, and from what I've seen, like, he jumps around in the genres. Like, this is probably the most standard straight up horror movie that I've seen him do, but even the other stuff, like, it still has a lot of the same elements, a lot of the same mindfuck elements, a lot of the same, like, extreme gore and extreme situation elements that are kind of cringy and gaggy.
May I interject for just a moment?
Sure.
He did a children's film.
He also did a children's film. So, like, this man he's worked in every... I don't know. I've not seen the children's film. Like, I've not seen nearly enough of his movies. I've only seen this one, Ichi the Killer, Dead or Alive, and then the short film Box.
Wait, did we all watch Ichi the Killer together?
No.
Okay, that
no,
was
me and Neff
movie
watched
then.
that one. I got it on Blu-ray a while back.
It was very good.
But Ichi the Killer, like, that one's batshit insane. Dead or Alive is even crazier. But, like, both Ichi and Dead or Alive are more like crime Yakuza movies. But they still have the same element of just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yakuza.
Like, to the point, I don't want to spoil it. But at the same time, I'll spoil just this much. At the end of Dead or Alive, the entire planet explodes. That's how Dead or Alive ends, and when you get there, you're like, okay, that makes sense. As much as anything else that just happened.
Dead or Alive was beautiful.
It was amazing. It was so much fun.
I need to rewatch it again though, because I feel like it needs a second watching, because I feel like I missed some stuff.
Yeah.
But
that seems fair. That seems like mostly what Miike Miike films kind of are. Where it's just like you watch it once and you're just like, what the fuck just happened? And then you watch it again and you're like, okay, I still don't understand, but I caught more this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Audition. I think.
I want to
Are we good
Yeah.
with Audition?
Yep.
What's up next? Valentine. Oh, here's we're.
Oh man.
It's gonna be a good one. So what were your thoughts on Valentine, Kettle?
Kettle.
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. I didn't dislike it. It felt a little generic slashery to me, but like kind of just with the Valentine twist. However, it did have my favorite kill.
Yeah.
Which was can we talk about those as they?
Oh
come
sure.
up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Which was the fucking drill when he's like going through the glass, and then like he's just kind of like finds like fuck it and just throws it in there.
Yeah. It was that was my
favorite kill.
That was also my pick for favorite kill. Yep.
That one was
that was a great kill.
And I will say I did enjoy the kind of twist ending there. That was
yeah, they worked hard for the
fun.
twist ending.
Yeah.
Whether or not it like completely sold is another question, but like they definitely worked hard to get that twist ending in there.
They turn you around like 3 times.
Yeah, like they're like, but is it this person though?
Yeah.
But is it that person though?
So I enjoyed that aspect. I didn't as much like the characters. They were all just kind of
they're pretty generic.
But I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah, they're pretty generic.
Except for Denise Richards, I enjoyed her.
Denise Richards is just a lot of fun because the thing I loved about Denise Richards in this movie is that like they basically all are just like stereotypical like one note characters, and they're aware of this because they even identify themselves as such. And Denise Richards' character was the slutty one. And
I did love the whole wax it.
Jesus, Paige, it's a funeral. Get it together.
But the great thing about it is that like she's well established as the slutty one. She's apparently very comfortable with being the slutty one, and yet at every step of the way, anytime she's about to like have sex with a guy who's basically just a douchebag and just thinks of her as the slutty one, she completely fucks them over and turns them down. Like that was amazing. Where she's like, "Yeah, I'm the slutty one, but like I respect myself, and you should too. Fuck you."
So great.
But that was my overall thought on like enjoyable twists, a little bit generic, but like a fun slasher movie.
Just generic kind of 80s slasher movie. What about you now?
Well, this was 2000, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, but like it's got the vibe of an 80s slasher through and through. Like comparative, like because this came out like kind of at the tail end of like the slasher craze of the mid to late 90s into the 2000s, where Scream had come out and suddenly everything was like a meta slasher, and everything and it was less a slasher and more a murder mystery. And to me, Valentine is a very strange hybrid between the two, because on the one hand, it's got like kind of the aesthetic of a post-slasher or post-Scream slasher movie, and it's kind of got a bit of the whodunit angle of it. But at its core, it's just straight up an 80s slasher throwback. Like that's all it is.
But that's my overall thoughts on it.
Yeah. What about you, Neff?
So I honestly thought it was an enjoyable slasher, and you know me.
Yeah, you hate slashers.
Yeah, this was just a lot of fun. And first of all, my first notice is, anybody else notice that Dwight Schrute was kind of a bit of a loser in middle school?
Dwight Schrute.
Yeah, when he was in middle school, he's got those big nerdy glasses.
Oh, he looked like Dwight Schrute. He did.
Like baby Dwight Schrute.
I didn't put that together, but yeah.
Yeah, it was like a baby Dwight Schrute, and I'm just like, oh, poor Dwight. You have potential yet. That's all.
He hasn't inherited the beet farm yet.
No, he hasn't. And like, just all of it was first of all, the opening was creepy as fuck. Like that, I was expecting more because of the opening, that creepy ass piano music with the heartbeat, and then the feminine giggles, and that the way it was mixed. I was like, oh, we're in for a good creepy slasher. All right, I'm ready. And it kind of like it set a really good tone, and then it kind of let me down a little bit based on the opening, because the opening made it seem like it was really like a lot creepier than it actually was.
Yeah.
All I know is I need those Valentine Day cards.
Those were really good.
Those were really inventive.
Like I loved them. They were fantastic. So I just there was a lot of things about it. Like I think the only thing I can honestly do is literally go through like the last few things because of my notes. By the way, which Paige getting killed in the hot tub, best kill for me.
Yeah.
But so I seriously believed Adam was babyface for a moment there. Not sure how surprising Dorothy being babyface was. We'll have to discuss with others. Wait, what? So Adam was babyface because of the bloody nose? Then why was Dorothy in the suit and why did she attack Kate? This had a surprising ending, and it left me guessing the entire time.
Damn bloody nose. I kept thinking, do they have anime erections? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. That's basically what it was. And I honestly can't remember if this was in a time before that was like a trope of like anime erections. Like, I don't know enough about anime to know whether or not.
That was, what was that? That was early 2000s? Yeah, that
2001.
Anime. Yeah, that would have been an anime trope by then because...
Okay. Well,
yeah,
that works.
Anime started back in the late 70s.
Well, I know anime has been around since then. I mean, that specific trope of getting the nosebleed when your penis is hard.
And then...
I don't know when that trope came about.
Right. And then, like, 90s, like, mid-90s is when... it may not have been big enough. I don't know how much it influenced this movie, just simply because like anime didn't really become all that big until like I think the 90s. So I don't know how much it actually affected this movie, and if whether or not the people who made it and wrote the script and whatnot.
Midas is saying it's been a symbolic orgasm since the 80s at least. Fair enough.
Yeah, that makes sense. But my last thing is did anybody happen to, even if you just saw the trailer, you remember the mask from Happy Death Day?
Not really.
So it's a baby. It's the mask that's in this movie. So Happy Death Day stole this mask. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, they stole the whole premise from Groundhog Day, so.
I mean that too, but.
I've heard it's a very fun movie, but I'm just like, it's Groundhog Day, but it's a slasher movie. Which I should think is really cool, but like I actually am annoyed by this for some reason.
Right.
But this movie, well, I'll let Fish go and then I'll go through because I got a lot of notes, and I don't want to hit every single one of them, but I want to kind of get the broad strokes. But Fish, what did you think of Valentine?
I fucking hated it. So beginning, male Carrie. Jason needs to stop talking in third person. Man-sized babby. To me, the characters were so damn generic, and the storyline was so predictable that it was a nod to the old 80s slasher movies. It did have the murder mystery in it, because there were parts where I was like, is this Dave Boreanaz? Is this the other, like, who the hell is the killer? But they should have left it to the 80s. I think the 80s are a little bit insulted. Girlfriend who plopped her head in a damn toilet bowl. Girl, you're going to medical school.
Yeah.
You should know better.
No. Well, in her defense,
in the tank in the back.
In her defense, that was not the one going to medical school. That was Katherine Heigl.
Were they not all in school together for medical stuff?
No. I think only Katherine Heigl.
Didn't make that clear.
I don't know what she was doing. I don't know what Kate was up to.
Because it seemed to me they were all going to medical school, but for different reasons, and they knew each other through school from younger age. And even in if you're going into a different branch of medical school, you still got to go through biology, and biology tells you don't stick your damn head in the toilet.
Is that the purpose of that class? That seems.
No, the purpose of the class is mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but bacterial cells, they have mitochondria too. There's a lot of angry storming off. With women just puffing along the way. I think Angel was the best about the whole thing. Every action I thought was such an exaggerated way to convey the fight against male oppression. It was definitely a female-driven movie.
Right.
And the females were all, oh, men are scum. All they want to do is fuck you and
but at the same time, their main driving force in that movie, every single one of them, is to get a boyfriend and get laid.
Come on, ladies, you're all successful women. Let's get this going here. You don't need
that was the most baffling. This group of actually gorgeous, smart, put together women can't find a fucking date? What?
Right, and I don't know, I get the whole okay, so David's character was supposed to be an alcoholic and everybody, talk shit to the girl about him, but he was really freaking trying, man. He was trying to be a good dude. I was like, come on. And then he fucked it all up at the end, and then when he came out acting like you were trying to be convinced that he was the killer, even then I'm like, it's not him. Is it him? Or more than one person getting nosebleeds here? I don't think that mask will fit David's big ass. Because again, giant Bobby.
Now, I do have a theory on the why did the girl have the thing and attack her. I went back and rewatched it. It looks like it could be a thing to where she got that thing put on her, she woke up confused, and then she just kind of ran, because then she tackles her, falls down the stairs, and immediately gets shot. There's not a chance for any kind of explanation or anything. It's just bang, bang, bang. Mm-hmm. Oh wow, she was the killer. Crazy.
At the same, I feel like I would have, at least if I was in that situation and I wasn't gagged, I would at least be screaming indecipherably and being like, "What the fuck is going on? Why am I in this stupid baby mask? What the fuck? It's not Saturday night."
Or was it?
Wait, is it Saturday?
I think my favorite character throughout the whole thing was the girl who came in, who I don't even know who the hell she was, but she came in and then she snuck back in and she was going through this shit. And then
the bitchy jilted Mark of what the fuck was his name?
And if it
not
hadn't been,
Chad was the name of the corpse. I don't know his name.
If it hadn't been for the kill that I really felt vindicated on in DeadGirl, that would have been my favorite kill, because
that was a good kill.
Whap right onto glass, and I was like, "What?"
Oh yeah,
that was a very good kill.
Mm-hmm.
But predictable from beginning to end, and like I said, the 80s did it much better, and
well,
that's my take on Valentine Day.
Some of the 80s did it. Some of the 80s did it much better. There are a lot of slashers from the 80s that are on par or worse than this one, in my opinion.
For sure.
But this one, I mean, this one from it's weird because this is one of those movies where I remember seeing it initially and not really thinking that much of it, but for some reason, it was a period of time where I still had access to cable and movie channels, and it was on whatever movie channel all the fucking time. And for some reason, most of the time when it was on, I would just leave it on. So I've seen this movie probably far more times than I'm even aware of, because it was just always on. I feel like there's got to be some reason behind that. I think it's just like it's not a particularly good movie, but like it's got that kind of campy cheese from an 80s slasher, which I think just resonated with me on some level. I mean, so the movie is incredibly dated. Like, it's hilariously dated at this point, even from the very start with the Warner Brothers logo tinted red. Like, oh my god, is that so early 2000s?
Yeah.
Video dating, speed dating, like every single like pretentious bullshit art house exhibit that's just like actually the worst garbage ever. Like all of that was just so early 2000s. Let's see. I will say the casting for in the opening flashback, young Denise Richards, like that was some amazing casting because that looked like a 14-year-old Denise Richards. Like I don't know if that's her little sister or whatever, but like it looked just like her, only like way younger. I also made the same comment. Yeah, the opening scene is a gender swap version of Carrie's Prom, only without the pyrotechnic finish.
It had to be an homage because
it had to be. It absolutely. I feel like it absolutely was. I made the mention that there should be a spin-off movie of Jason being a creepy bastard. But I was also curious. I was like, was he a reference to Jason Voorhees or Jason Bateman from no, never mind. Jason Bateman is that's an actor. I was thinking of Patrick Bateman from American Psycho because he was giving me a real hard like kind of almost parody of Patrick Bateman vibe. The talking in the third person and just the way he was just incredibly creepy.
That smile.
Yeah, that smile.
Punch it right off his face, just like
yeah,
Jason.
There is a timely joke somewhere about Katherine Heigl blowing off creepy Jason to go spend time with Chad, the corpse that she's autopsying, but I'm not intelligent enough or political enough to make it. But that opening scene, well, not the opening scene, but the scene with Katherine Heigl, like, that is where the movie, I think, takes the most inspiration from Scream, because Katherine Heigl was a known entity at that point, and they cast her in this movie, and she's only there in the opening scene to be that first kill. So, but they set her up as being, like, a main character. And they even set it up where it's just like, oh, she fights back, she's clever, she might get away, and then nope, she's just fucking dead. Which at that point, by the time it came out, wasn't particularly surprising, because like a lot of other, probably the Scream sequels had all done that, and probably a few of the other Scream...
The parodies.
Yeah, Scream-based slasher movies had done that as well. The one thing I did notice... Wait, I'm skimming through my notes. I made way too many notes. I almost went beat for beat with this movie. So I'm just trying to skim through and get the good stuff. There's Angel hanging out in a graveyard, hitting on on an attractive blonde girl again. We had that reference. Coming this fall to NBC, the new reality show sweeping the nation, Mail Order Brides from Hell. I thought that was a hilarious little line, the Mail Order Bride from Hell. Scary Gary, what the fuck? Yeah, her creepy weird neighbor.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
What the fuck was even that guy all about? Yeah, I did say this movie went to great lengths to force Marley Shelton to shove her head in a toilet willingly. Like, that was just such a weird... Like, why is that there? Why is that scene there, if not to just get her to shove her head in a toilet? Like,
she has so much soap in her hair. If you shower, your hair, that soap comes out. You did not need to put your damn hair in the toilet.
Like, it was... Like, it's even more absurd just because, like, there was no other reason for that scene other than, like, her landlord's kind of a dick and she lives in a shitty apartment. Like, that's the whole, like, point of that scene. And I feel like there are many other easier ways to express that without making her shove her head in the toilet. But at the same time, I kind of love that they made her shove her head in the toilet. That was pretty... I mean, I've never seen that in a movie before. It was pretty funny.
I mean, you know the whole reason that they did that, right? It was so that they could do the classic horror movie towel.
Oh, did she have the magic towel on at that point?
Mm-hmm. She did have the magic towel.
Well,
point.
she didn't get chased up and down the stairs and like fall off a roof, and the towel was like bulletproof or anything like that. So it was, if that was a magic towel reference, it was a weak magic towel reference.
Well, it was a weak magic towel reference, but it was a magic towel reference.
Mm-hmm.
There's always got to be at least one magic towel instance.
Let's see. I did wonder what the logistics of making an entire box of chocolates with maggots inside the chocolates, living maggots inside the chocolates. Like, what is the logistics of that? Like, how do you even do that? Like, where do you go to school to learn how to do that? Like,
you can't, because the way... Well, actually, no, technically you kind of could, because when you make chocolate, okay, you bring it to a certain heat level, because there's a certain way, like, it depends on how luscious you want your chocolate to be, and there's a lot of science that goes into making chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I know, I've seen the movie Chocolat starring Yanni Depp.
So,
it actually wasn't bad. I actually kind of enjoyed it.
But when you make chocolate and you're pouring it in, sometimes it can be as cool as like room temperature. And in all honesty, and like what maggots can sit in, that's perfectly reasonable. Like they could probably survive that.
I made the note. It's top tier slasher freakout techniques. Like, I don't know of another slasher who's gone to that lengths, the lengths that this guy did.
Yeah.
To fuck with his victims. Like, even in the opening scene, which I think, even though it's like kind of predictable at this point, like, oh yeah, Katherine Heigl's fucking toast. The way that they set it up is like, I still think the way they set it up is really good, and it expresses just how committed and experienced he is in being a slasher killer, because like he either waits for her classmate to make a noise to lure her out of the room, and then moves a cadaver into a closet, strips down, hides under the sheet on the gurney, just to freak her out. That's the whole point. Just to mindfuck her. And then he gets fully dressed again with his mask on to then pursue her at the speed walk pace of a traditional 80s slasher. Like, that is, like, from just the aspect of the slasher killer motif, Michael Myers is looking at that scene and is envious. Because it's the Michael Myers game, only it's on a whole other level of professionalism.
Right.
And the same thing with the chocolates with the maggots in them. Like, that's just, like, insane dedication. To work that out. I think that was probably a big part of the reason why, while Valentine, like, yeah, it's a generic slasher, it's not really offering that much new to the genre or anything like that. It follows the basic beats, and there's not a whole lot of standout moments to it or anything like that. Like, the characters are all like one note stereotypes. The twists and turns are like a little mind-bendy, but not that much, especially not upon repeated viewings. I feel like more and more questions come up with like the way they're trying to set this up and fake you out, especially with what was it, Dorothy being set up as the fake out killer. And it's like, well, that doesn't make any goddamn sense, because Dorothy and Kate were together at the party looking for Paige when Paige was getting killed. So logistically, it makes no sense. Well, during the initial watch through, everything's happening so fast that like reasonably you could like miss that and not think of it. But upon repeated viewings, it's like, this doesn't hold up at all. It's really obvious that she's not the killer from the very beginning. But it's still got some charm to it, and I think it's just how amazingly proficient he is as a slasher killer. like blows my mind, and it pushes that envelope of like this is just like movie magic or movie physics. Like there's no way he's cheating because it's scripted that way. It rubs right up against that line without going over it to make it like at least reasonably plausible, but it requires him to have done a lot of fucking setup and a lot of training. Which is kind of wacky. Yeah, he should probably get a better hobby.
Fishing, maybe.
He'd be good at fishing. He's a patient man, and he's got the. I put down the killer has apparently gone to the Oliver Queen School of Archery to prepare for the slaughter. The commitment to varied skill bases is impressive. Second kill, shot through the heart. I made the mention of, are you really surprised your sleazy, pretentious, deep artist arranged a threesome without telling you? Like, everything about that guy said he would do that to me. Right. Award for creepiest fucking art exhibit of all time. Because that art exhibit was just horrifying.
It was.
Trying to go through these faster. Internet investment scams. That's another early 2000s dating thing. Remember when that was a thing? I did say the thought of Angel slipping on his girlfriend's panties and dancing around in an apartment alone is an image that needed to be seen and not just talked about, and fuck this movie for not delivering. Like, we needed that scene. It was important to the plot. The cop reminded me, he was trying very hard to be Woody Harrelson, I thought.
And I recognize him, I just don't know where from.
He kind of looks like Woody Harrelson.
I mean, yeah, but that's not, I've seen him before.
It's possible. I don't know. I didn't look up what else he had been in. Marley Shelton leaving her iron on all the fucking time. Even when she's completely out of the apartment and gone for hours. She's gonna burn the apartment building down. Thank God for Scary Gary coming in.
Stick it in the toilet.
Yeah, along with her head. She's actually, when she comes home after Scary Gary dies and finds her iron isn't on, she's actually surprised by it. Like, so she intentionally turned her iron on and then fucking left. To the point that when she comes back, she's like, wait a minute, I left this on. I wanted to burn the building down. What the fuck?
She probably leaves her oven on all the time, too, because she doesn't have the patience to preheat.
Yeah. Let's see,
Oh, he was in Supernatural. That's where I know him from.
Oh, okay. It's a blink and you'll miss it shot, but like right around the time when the party is winding down, you see a security guard wandering by. To which I have only one thing to say. There was security at that party where everyone is getting killed. Where the fuck were you, security? You had one fucking job. Like, there was security at that party, and he still managed to get around them. That's fucking nuts. But yeah, it's... I said a lot of other stuff, but I'll just skim past it. But yeah, Valentine, it's a weird one just because, again, it's a slasher movie that came out post-Scream, but before kind of the resurgence of 80s nostalgia, where suddenly people wanted 80s slasher throwbacks. So, like, It was not well liked. Like, it made money. It had a budget of $29 million. It earned back $37 million. So it made money, which should guarantee it a sequel. But, like, this movie's never had a sequel. Not even a direct-to-video sequel, which is wacky because, like, American Psycho has a sequel. It shouldn't. It's not good, but it has a sequel. So it's just very strange that, like, how... I mean, I can get why it's disliked. Because, again, it doesn't add a lot new to it. But as an 80s throwback slasher, it's I think it's fun and it's got a little bit of charm.
Yeah.
And just I gotta respect David Boreanaz as Cupid Killer, because like, oh my god, like if this movie came out in the 80s, he would be a top tier level slasher. Just with the commitment to his job that he has. Right, this is the one I watched on Tubi. Oh wait, no, this is the one I watched on Vudu. So I had commercials. And I had to watch a hell of a lot of commercials. So I have commercial notes. Which I will run through very quickly, and then we can move on to DeadGirl. So having to watch James Corden shill a Keurig over and over is starting to give me Midas levels of distaste for him. And what the fuck is a carafe? It's apparently some kind of coffee that this Keurig machine makes, but I've never heard of what the fuck like a carafe is.
Or whatever.
He called it carafe.
Oh, carafe. I think it's just like their specialty coffee.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't fucking know, man. I just use a regular ass coffee maker.
I mean, I don't know what it was. I had to hear the word like 20 times, and at this point, like I had to ask the question, but I don't think I actually care about the answer. 21 Bridges, aka Black Panther in Brooklyn, which is the only thing I could get from the 30-second or less ad that they kept playing for it. Like, it looked cool, but I'm just like, it's just Black Panther in Brooklyn. Capital One's talking head looks like he could be one of the red herring killers in this fucking movie. Because whoever the spokesperson they have for Capital One is right now, like, he looks like one of the douchebag red herring killers from Valentine. It was freaking me out. Oh, Shaq, why are you shilling for an insurance company? Shaquille O'Neal is now shilling for the General. Yeah. Yep. And then I got the Mountain Dew Zero Sugar commercial that is the parody of The Shining. And it's, my god, is it cheesy, but I have a soft spot for blatant horror references in pop culture and commercials. And on top of that, Bryan Cranston dressed up as the creepy twin girls is just an image that needed to be seen.
I love that, man.
A carafe is a glass container without handles used for serving wine and other drinks. Unlike the related decanter, carafes do not include stoppers. Coffee pots included in coffee makers are also referred to as carafes in the American English. Well, that doesn't answer. I mean, that kind of answers my question, but I still don't understand it based on the context of the commercial. And
yeah.
I think
it's just basically a coffee pot.
I think I care even less.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, just get a regular ass coffee.
Yeah, just give me coffee, please. Like, shut up and give me coffee.
Like, the whole point of you Keurig is just to put my cup there and give me a freaking cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I like Keurigs. I own a Keurig. I've owned one for many years, and it served me well. But I don't need to watch their commercials ever again. Anyway, enough about soul-crushing materialism and just hating the world. Let's talk about DeadGirl.
Yay!
Kettle's face is the best.
Fuck me. That movie was something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those, I don't know what I expected going into it, but a extended rape fest of a zombie was not exactly what I was expecting.
You never expect the extended rape fest of a zombie. You should, but you never do.
That being said, for as uncomfortable as it made me, I do think it was still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just one of those, like, first of all, everybody in there, they're like, oh, I'm 17. It's like, dude, you're 27. Like, nobody in that movie looks age appropriate, which makes it extra weird because they're supposed to be in high school and like fucking this girl. Like, what the hell? And also the one jock guy, like, putting his ding dong near the mouth. It's like, bro,
no, it's just a bad idea.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like the, again, kind of twist at the end of this one where he tells his crush like, oh, it's gonna be everything okay, oh, I love you. She's like, good, grow up. And he's like, well, time to turn you into a fucking zombie that I'm gonna rape forever.
Yep.
So it's a shame because throughout the whole movie I'm like, he's the one person with a modicum of fucking decency.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, okay, well, can't win them all. So that's more or less my thoughts. Also, the acting of DeadGirl, like especially when they did the like close up shit. Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she was horrifying.
And it's also, I mean, it's like you just feel bad for her. Even it's I don't know. It's just it just makes you feel ugh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh
That's
yeah,
why I can
it's
really
definitely
describe
that type of movie.
Especially with the guys just so nonchalantly being like, yeah, man, you can just hit that right after I do. Just, all that splooge in there, who cares? Like, ugh. You guys.
Stop, you guys.
Yeah.
Stop, you're gonna get in trouble.
And then I kind of like Alcoholic Stepdad.
Right?
He was like one of
Because-
two actually decent people in that movie.
Because it's one of those, like, he's got his own problems, but he doesn't seem, like, overtly bad.
Yeah.
He just doesn't really understand his kid, and is also kind of like the old school, like, well, yeah, just fight back, don't be a pussy, like...
Yeah, it made me so happy that they didn't do the traditional trope of the alcoholic stepfather where he would have been like an
Beating the
actual
fuck out of him.
scumbag, and yeah, he would be beating Ricky, and like he would just be absolute scum. As it turns out, like the alcoholic stepfather is like probably one of the most decent people in the movie.
Yeah, because his problem just affects him, and it doesn't seem... I mean, he has trouble paying his rent, as it said,
Yeah.
but, like... He doesn't seem like an overall awful guy.
He
Just
doesn't-
seems like he's got his problems.
he's got issues, but he seems like a decent guy.
But yeah, that's my overall thoughts on it. Like, it's a good movie. It's one I don't think I would watch again,
Mhm.
just because it's like,
It's a
I
hard
don't need
sit.
to see that again.
Yeah, it's a hard sit.
So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. But oof, I give it a out of
Ugh.
10, like, whatever that is. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my thoughts on DeadGirl.
Enough.
Yeah. So after I watched this movie, I sat there for quite some time feeling like I wanted to cry. And it wasn't because of the rape scenes, though those were very, very uncomfortable.
Mm.
It was more to do with it just took all the worst parts of society and made it evident, and it just kind of like, there are moments where you're like, this just disproves my belief in humanity, and humanity is dead. No, this movie really made those feels, and like I was sitting there just like looking at Boone because he came out after he was done working, and he just was like, "What's up?" And I'm like, I don't know, like I just don't feel okay. Like I feel.
She's like, I just finished
dirty.
DeadGirl, and I'm like, ooh, okay.
Yeah. And like, and just like Kettle, like Ricky was supposed to be the morally upstanding guy, or at least that's how they painted him for
He was
majority
the
of it.
chosen one.
Yeah, and
you were
then
supposed to bring balance to the force, Ricky.
And then, like, instead, Gary Busey, stepdad, fucking ends up being the most morally okay character, as well as, what is her name?
The girl he was stalking.
Joanne.
Yeah.
So
yeah, she was
Joanne,
decent too. Like she was.
Yeah. She was legitimately trying. Like she was just like, I didn't see any issues with her, and it was horrible. It was an awesomely awful movie. In the sense that it was beautifully done. The main zombie woman was creepy as fuck. Her teeth bugged me. They were just like, I don't know what it was. They looked like little evil chiclets. I didn't like them. And she just, that smile she would get, it was creepy. But it's a very like, and JT is that character that you love to fucking hate. Like, he is the ultimate scumlord, worst person ever. And when he, like, I think you brought it up, but the scene where he's sitting in the chair in his like fucking underwear and the robe.
Oh yeah, he's got the robe and his
cigarette.
underwear and he's smoking a cigarette. I'm like the immediate cut.
Gold, I basically just live here now.
Yeah, he's like,
Right?
Okay.
and he's just like the master pimp. I'm just like, I fucking hate everything that you are, but at the same time, like, oh my god, can I have more of you, please, in a fictional context?
Right. But like, it's just basically a giant commentary, whether or not the film intended it or not, of like just honestly like the reality of the world. Only it involved a zombie. You've got these kids that feel that they can do anything they want because the school doesn't fucking care. Their kids, their parents don't fucking care, and none of society cares. And these are the kids that are a majority, like, that are at that poverty level. Like, as JT says in the movie, he's like, when he's talking to the guy, when he's like, oh, go ahead, try and report us. You're going to go to jail and you're going to lose your scholarships and your football things and all this. And he goes, and what are we going to miss? A couple of child support payments, a couple of divorces, and some shifts at the gas station. No, this is as good as we're going to get. And that's almost more fucked up than the entire movie. Like, the reality of it, like, that just being shoved in your face. And in all honesty, it's kind of an undertone. Like, it's stated, but it's not the stuff surrounding
that's
it. Like,
kind of the crux of the like. There's a lot of horrifying things that happen, but like that's kind of the crux of where the horror manifests. Where it's just like, this is where they are, and this is the best they can see for themselves. So they're just going to be terrible.
Yeah,
because
like,
fuck it, why wouldn't we?
And at the end of the day, I don't think it's so much that even JT is the monster, or even the zombie girl. It's fucking society, and that's the part that like legitimately made me want to cry, because I've experienced it. I've experienced society just not making it easy for somebody who doesn't have everything handed to them. So you're just like, oh, this hit harder than you thought when you stopped to analyze the film. And like, I didn't actually cry, for the record, but I felt it. Like, that feeling where you're like, I need to cry, but my body doesn't want to let me. But no, I mean, it was a good film. I would watch it again to show it to other people, because I feel that it is a film that it needs to be watched. It's even if you were to like fast forward through sexy scenes, like whatever, I think it's a message that needs to be watched. It's a film that was incredibly done and very awkward. All right, rant done. I'm sorry.
Fish.
So, not to get too deep into politics and the way our government,
right?
Yeah, but one of the biggest things that I've always noticed, and again, I love true crime.
Yeah.
I love actual psychotic, like serial killers, things like that. But one of the biggest comments that this movie touched on, also leading into what Neff said, or twisting into what Neff said, is that like mental health for this country has not been taken care of.
Oh yeah.
Asylums were always a place for experimentation, abuse, and that's what didn't suspended my reality in this, because it was like, okay, you're showing the product of that kind of abuse, and it became a zombie, and you into a prisons taking up mental people, dropping them off in the street, like it made that society the way it is, because you're just unleashing somebody who's not. So where that came in with the asylum, that's where I was really like, oh, this is a good movie. JT reminded me of both Buffalo Bill and Mason Verger put together, and he looks like the guy who plays Buffalo Bill, whose name I can't remember.
Ted Levine.
Thank you. Yeah. He looks like him. I
Little
actually had
bit.
to look it up to see
Little
if
bit.
it was him.
No. Ted Levine looks much different now.
Or related.
Yeah.
But his character was so constructed to make you hate him, and
Oh yeah.
loved, like you said, the fictional. Like I wanted more. Like, we can keep her? What are you, 8? I think he was in. Here's the thing. I think he was in love with Ricky. Hear me out on this.
Okay.
It was more than a bromance. He wanted Ricky, but he wasn't going to express that because, oh God, that makes you gay. So he over elaborated his attraction to this woman that he could do anything he wanted to at whatever point in time that made him hot shit, and he wanted to include his best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And when his best friend backed off on it, he was trying to make his best friend jealous by telling others, oh, I'm going to tell other people about this. I'm making a profit. I'm going to make it profitable so that it's attractive to you. Because we are in a society that we're probably never, ever going to get out of. And if we're going to go live like this, let's make money off of it and do whatever the hell we want to do like the kings. The one thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, there weren't a lot of action scenes in this. There was a lot of
not
touching.
many.
I've
got it listed 3 sex scenes.
3, okay. Because I mean, the actual like penetration, I only saw one scene of that, and I think the other kid was the friend with the Scully cap on. Wheeler, thank you. Him doing that, and if there had been more of that, might have made, because she was a trapped animal, and she was wild, and it was so against her new nature to be locked up like that. That scene of her running naked, wild and free, I was like, go zombie girl, go! Let's see. My favorite kill was JT because I thought it was vindicated. Fucking thank God he's dying.
Right. I love the part where he's lying there bit and starting to turn, and he's just like, "Don't tell my grandma, okay?" Like that we finally get that moment of weakness and humanity from him, where like at the end he's just a scared kid that doesn't want his grandma to know the terrible things that he's done. Like it humanizes him just that smidge, where it's like
a little bit.
He's not just like this like stereotypical scumbag character. He is just actually a human being, which makes everything he's done even more horrifying.
Of course, when the dog jumped up on, which I don't know what the fucking point of that dog was, that mangy ass dog, but when he jumped up on the table all barking and shit, I was like, Simon? What was my line here? Well, you sure picked up a shit poor time to man up. And then at the end, I was in the same boat. I was fucking serious. He kept her anyway. After all that shit, he went and kept her. Yeah, you're idolizing her, but goddamn you.
Yep.
I loved it. I did. I thought it was a good movie. I'd watch it again.
Yeah, no, this was my second watch through of it, and I feel like this watch through was a lot. It was probably a harder sit, but I still enjoyed it just as much as when I initially saw it. But yeah, like for a lot of the same stuff you guys have said, like with JT and just like the remarks on society and all, why can I suddenly not speak? The remarks on society as a whole, that and all that shit. I made the remark, this movie is like, what if the naked dead girl in River's Edge was a zombie and all the high school kids wandered in to bang her? Because if you've seen River's Edge, like this movie feels almost like spiritually connected to River's Edge, because it had a lot of the same elements of youth not knowing right from wrong, not knowing their place in society, where their lives are going, and making decisions based on that, and like the loyalty of like what you do and don't do for your friends, and not wanting to betray that loyalty. It's very similar to River's Edge, only in this one, the dead naked girl is a zombie, and everybody wants to go fuck her. I made the point of, like, it feels absolutely wrong to say I like JT, because JT's a scumbag of the highest order, so I think the performance was amazing. Like, I love that actor. I've seen him in a couple of other things, too. And I really like that actor.
He's got a very striking face.
He does. A very angular, like... He's got the face perfectly designed to play the type of character that JT is. JT's clearly psychotic and probably has been for a while. Ricky's clearly the type of character who's easily pushed over and manipulated and stuff. He really should know better than to do. I mentioned that, like, the only thing that I found that was kind of hard to believe, like, why Ricky was struggling so hard to turn JT in, is the fact that we never see the build up to that. Like, we never see a point in the relationship where, like, where JT's not just, like, a complete scumbag to him. We just have to accept that, like, yeah, they've been friends since they were kids, and, they do care about each other on some level, even though from everything we see in the movie, JT has just been an asshole his entire life, and has treated Ricky like shit his entire life, and Ricky has no real incentive not to immediately turn him in. Especially when he's like, yo, this is wrong, we shouldn't do this, and JT's like, fuck off, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, at that point, like, yeah, you should just call the fucking cops. Like, okay, yeah, she's a zombie. All right, that complicates things a little bit, but, like, you're not qualified to handle this. Call the authorities, you dumb bastard. I did ask the question if do wet dreams count for the sex counter. I'm asking for Ricky. I thought the casting of the dead girl was spot on. She was, so, like, even though she's a zombie and she's got all the muck on her and everything like that, she was still beautiful in a very bizarre, unnatural, and terrifying kind of way, which kind of fit perfectly for that character.
She was exotic.
Yeah. And it also kind of reminded me of The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which also features a significant role of a young woman basically lying on a table completely naked the entire time, and yet still managing to be incredibly intimidating and incredibly scary. In Jane Doe, it's just a corpse. But in this one, like, she's alive and she's a zombie and everything like that. So she had a little bit more range to do stuff with. But even then, the fact that she spends the majority of the movie tied up and she still manages to be incredibly intimidating and scary, I thought was very impressive and spoke to the quality of the performance. Let's see. This movie could also be called Ricky the Coward, or Ricky the Idiot, or Ricky, do something, you stupid fuck. And then
Ricky, just stand up for yourself, dude. Come on.
And then, of course, we have wound fucking. Because sure, why not? That sounds like a great idea. Why wouldn't you stick something in the bullet hole?
And use it as lube.
Yeah, that's probably the point of the movie where it's just like, fucking seriously, come on, man. Stop this.
You're gonna get gross.
I was glad that Ricky wasn't too stressed out by his psychotic friends banging a zombie in an abandoned hospital to slack on his creepy stalking of the pretty girl he liked. You know, he's got to keep his priorities in check.
Yeah.
I said
they were dating in secret, because that scene where they're together where she's like, I can't see you anymore.
I just thought that was her giving him the casual brush off of like, dude, stop staring at me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't buy that as much as I buy your theory that JT was actually gay for Ricky. And he would never admit. That actually makes
it seemed like they had been together before.
They knew each other when they were younger, so like they might have had like a grade school like.
Because she was basically
you're my boyfriend.
I have a boyfriend, so you can't be doing this anymore.
I mean, if that was an element, then the movie failed to like make that a fact, because every single time we see them together, it's Ricky creepily staring at her from a distance or doing other creepy stalker things. There's never a moment like, even when the couple of times they're together and having a conversation, she's mostly just like, why are you fucking weird? There's never a moment where they're just like they're meeting in secret to like make out or anything like that. Like, if that was in there, I'd be like, yeah. But since it's not, like, I think Ricky was just like, he was smitten with her from a young age. Maybe they were like, you're my boyfriend now, like in 6th grade or something, or like 5th grade or whatever, for like a week, and he never got over it. Like, I'd buy that, but I don't think they were having secret romantic rendezvous. I know that the bully jocks, they were supposed to be, you know, the typical villainous bully jocks, but at the same time, when they got around to beating the shit out of Ricky, I was like, this beating is 100% justified. Not just for creepy stalking on the girl, but like for everything else he's done and not done so far in the movie. I'm like, yeah, he deserves to have his ass beat. Why the fuck is JT so charming in his utter repulsiveness? And actually, yeah, the dick bite scene, like, everything about that scene I fucking love. The way JT manipulates everyone, the way Ricky kind of gives into his dark side to like finally prove that like he does have a dark side. The dead girl kind of like watching it all and aware of it, and kind of like giving Ricky the look of like, hey, thanks for giving me a bite to eat. Like, everything about the fact that the main jock guy was actually like, for a little, almost a moment, he was the only person to walk in on that scene and not immediately say, sure, I'll stick my dick in the living dead girl. And he was like, no, this is wrong. I'm gonna go tell somebody because this is fucked. Until he fell into peer pressure and just became an asshole.
I think she also appreciated that on some base level.
No, yeah, that was kind of the thing about DeadGirl, was that like, she never said anything, but like they made it incredibly clear that she was not some mindless husk. Like, she was thinking. She had some kind of awareness of what was being done to her, and what was happening.
It was more predatorial than anything. But
it was
predatorial calculation.
Yeah, there was some higher thinking going on, because even at the end, when she finally gets free, like, she fucks up Wheeler, she fucks up JT, she doesn't touch Ricky. She runs right past Ricky because Ricky never actually did anything to her. He did try to help her escape, and then also he gave her something to eat. So on that level, like, she was aware of who Ricky was and like what he had done. So she just spared him, which means that she had a higher level of intelligence, even if it was at its base kind of animalistic, which is interesting.
She doesn't touch the girl. The girl gets hit by JT, doesn't she?
Yeah, JT.
There was some kind of camaraderie there. She's like, they've captured you like I've been captured.
Yeah, she didn't bite the girl. JT stabbed her, and then JT then bit her for Ricky. Oh, this is the one. Like, we were talking about biology class earlier, and how it's the only emphasis of the biology class is don't stick your head in the toilet. This was the movie. I was like, I wrote a note about some bullshit class. This class has this movie has an entire high school class devoted to the dangers of spoiled food products in a high school. Like, what? I must have missed... I mean, granted, I didn't go to high school that often, so I guess I just missed that class. Like, can anyone else who went to more high school confirm or deny, was this class real?
When I was in, like, middle school, I had a little, like, home ec class that kind of talk about, like, the food safety stuff.
Fair enough. Maybe everyone in high school has been held back 3 or 4 years. I'd buy that.
I think it was just a really good like transition between the whole scene, because right before that there was the scene of what smells, and Ricky or JT's like, oh, that's her.
Yeah.
Her bullet holes are rotting and she becomes rotting meat, and then all of a sudden Jock dude gets really sick and his intestines blow out of his ass. Like he's rotting meat inside. So
yeah.
I didn't, it was like, okay, I'll suspend my disbelief for that.
Yeah, it was it was one of those things where I'm like, I 100% get why this scene is here for the plot and the narrative, and kind of like, is that the joke? Like, so I got it on that level, but at the same time, like the actual realism level of like, is this is what they're doing in high school? No wonder everyone in this town is fucked. Like, exactly. This is what they're teaching them. Yeah, like these moron 17 to 18-year-olds need to be told when to throw out expired milk in high school. Like, of course they're not going anywhere. Of course a zombie girl chained up in the basement of an asylum is the best they're ever gonna get. They're all fucking morons.
Yeah. That just goes back to Neffy's point, like, doesn't get.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we're gonna teach you like higher level learning because you don't deserve it. You're just idiot kids in this idiot town, and go work in the mines, moron.
Trigonometry, get fucked. Here's how you identify mold on bread. Here's how you read an expiration date on a package of cheese. I did like that once she does get free, DeadGirl like quickly shows that the entire time throughout the entire movie, she's been the most dangerous thing around. Yeah. Like, surrounded by all of these scumbags and assholes, like, she has been the most dangerous thing sitting there just waiting the whole time, because she rips that fucking door off its hinges like it's nothing. Which kind of raises the point of like, she couldn't rip through her chains when she was strapped down. Which
maybe it's an angle thing.
They were magic chains. Yeah, they were imbued with the magic of Stephen Strange or some shit. I don't know, like, I feel like that raises some interest. Like, what if she can tear through that door as quickly as she did, she probably could have teared through her chains, which means, and we know she has some higher thinking capability, which means, I don't know what, but it means that she was there, not that what was done to her she was consenting, but she was there willingly waiting for her moment. Like, kind of in a predatory aspect. She was waiting for her moment for everything to go wrong so she could escape.
That's better than what I thought, because I thought it was just an angle. Laying prostrate, both her legs and her upper body are chained down. So, that's like, when she rips the door off, she's actually got all of her body strength.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do have her tied up standing in that final scene.
They do.
And she doesn't rip herself free at that point. And she also, like, they moved her around several times and she didn't ever try to escape. Which is weird.
That we saw.
Yeah,
because JT was in full belief that he could handle her. But when they had her tied up, I think, like, when she was standing up tied up, I think she was just waiting for the perfect moment.
Yeah.
She was like, I want to see how this plays out so I can get the F out of here. It was kind of like a cat at a vet's office. Like, what and that's from, because I know I can.
And that's honestly kind of how her character felt for the majority of the time. Like a feline cat predator. Just like watching everything and figuring out all the angles and just waiting for the moment to pounce. I think that if there was like a flash forward like 10 years at the end of this movie to the zombie apocalypse, I think that would have been hilarious. Because, you know, hey, how did the zombie apocalypse start anyway? Necrophiliacs, man. Fucking necrophiliacs.
I thought you were going to say just 10 years later, it's like everyone's just in prison. That seems equally likely.
Yeah, that's probably the more like if the zombie apocalypse doesn't happen, yeah, everyone's in fucking jail. But yeah, I'm just thinking of like a Walking Dead situation where like the world is fucked, there's zombies everywhere, there's like a handful of survivors left, and they're like, how did this happen? Fucking necrophiliacs! Don't stick your dick in dead things, man. It never ends well. Shit.
I know this is a wild and far toss, but there's a Wolverine one-off comic where he meets a wild woman out in the mountains. And I kind of figured, like, I kind of connected the two. I was like, the way she was running free in the end, all naked and happy.
You think it's actually a secret X-Men movie?
Yeah. I was like, what happened with the girl? She was in the asylum that Logan was in, where Logan got created. Or well, at least where he gets his adamantium. And it was before everything that happened there with Stryker. But it was a very similar story. And I was like, the only difference is she's a zombie. So right. I don't know. But
maybe she wasn't a zombie. Maybe she was a mutant with an accelerated healing factor. Yeah, it's a Dead Girl's just it's X-Men Origins Dead Girl now.
Yeah, true. Meets her.
But yeah, overall, it's definitely a wild flick. It definitely skates the lines between like high school melodrama, coming of age story nonsense, and just extreme fucked up horror. I thought the performances were good all the way around. JT is a fucking absolute scene stealer. He's just so charismatically sleazy the whole fucking time. The movie was controversial when it came out. That's a shock, right? This movie, controversial?
No.
It's called misogynistic, which, yeah, I would say there's plenty of evidence for that. Although, in my own opinion, I feel like it's more misanthropic. I feel like this is a movie that hates, like the mindset of the movie is not hatred towards women specifically, it's hatred of the world. And just people. Is how it came across to me. Because every single character is just absolute shit, except for the stepdad and what was it, Joanne?
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the only two, like, decent people in the entire fucking movie. Everyone else is just scum. And even the dead girl, while not being, you know, scum, is still this dangerous creature. It was billed as a dark comedy. Did anybody laugh? Anybody get any laughs out of this one?
Oh, man.
A couple times, but it was just lines. Like, I can't believe you just said that. Or, like, how
great.
Are you, like, 5? Like,
yeah.
What the fuck, JT?
What word starts with an F and ends with a K?
Fire
truck.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he admitted. And then the only other thing that I have noted down, a little bit of trivia, the Dead Girl, it was written by a guy named Trent Haga. And he is relevant only because he played the demonic killer clown from the Killjoy movies. Not the first one, like the second one and beyond, he played Killjoy in the Killjoy movies, which are absolutely goofy slasher movies. They are ridiculous. I thought that was amusing, but probably just because I've seen most of the Killjoy movies. But yeah, that is DeadGirl.
DeadGirl.
Real quick before we jump into Comforting Skin and then get into the whole points thing, I'm gonna refill my drink, and if people want to do drink refills
That's
or
a
anything,
good idea.
or bathroom break.
Break.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Chupacabras, hello. We're going.
Hi, Chupacabra.
We're going away for a couple of minutes, but we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Ooh.
Never. Hello.
Never. Oh, and my poor dwarf is here too.
Oh, I see a robot.
Boop. Boop.
A robo man. A robo synth llama man.
Oh God, camera, what are you doing? Focus, please.
Oh no.
No.
You're back from the dead for the moment. Let's go. Chupacabras, that monkey emote is adorable.
Right?
Freaking
That's what we need to get for your emotes.
Well, it's
Like-
somebody else already has it. Who's is that? NB3 chimp.
Yeah, but like more clear like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So how's everybody doing? You have a nice little break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went and made pee-pee.
Mm-hmm.
Look, he's asking about how the 2-minute break was, so it's like, well, he must really want to know.
I do. Tell me
That
everything.
Scrubs line. You
D-
and I are Turk and Dr. Cox because we're pea buddies.
Details, brother, details. What was the consistency, the color?
No. Shut up.
This is a Wendy's.
Sir, this is
Well, especially if you're
Wendy's.
going number one, I'd hope the consistency is it's just liquid.
It's
like,
it's just liquid.
Oh my God, they're so freaking cute.
Oh man, that's adorable. So yeah, we just got the single movie left.
Mm-hmm.
That being Comforting Skin.
yes.
This fucking movie.
This
This
fucking movie.
fucking movie. So
Thought your screen was
I'm
cracked.
gonna start out with a question. My thoughts on it. Is it a requirement for every month for us to have a bad softcore porno in? Just wondering.
It's not. However, the likelihood of it happening is greatly reduced.
Is
Now-
up there?
Well, the likelihood of it happening in the future is greatly reduced because now everyone is submitting a movie.
That's
so
true,
I
yeah.
have to think really long and hard if I want my single submission to be softcore porn. But you just wait for April, mister. That's all I'm going to say on that.
All right. So yeah, aside from that, I personally didn't even see it as a horror movie. It was just more of a like, this girl's got really, really bad mental illness.
Mhm.
Which is more like kind of sad than scary.
Mm.
However, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the scenes were nice to watch. Like, it was fine, but it was definitely kind of one of those like, we're trying to get like a story here, you know. But I did really love the roommate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was oblivious to half of the shit, just walking around. Like, huh? What? I just want to sit here and be a sad boy and read my romance novels and make my little compositions. And also the anxiety that he felt where he couldn't even go in and listen to his own music. I felt that in my soul. And I don't even make music. So I liked him a lot. I didn't like the other friend, Cynthia, I think her name was.
Oh yeah.
She was just awful in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. Yeah, I kind of have torn feelings on it because it's like I didn't necessarily like it, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. It's kind of like, I found it to be very meh, and also like I said, not horror, just more just like, damn, that's a lot of mental issues happening there. That again, like we're talking about mental health not really taken care of very well.
Yeah, this movie kind of is that's this movie.
Yeah,
Pretty much straight up.
So yeah, I mean that's most of the thoughts I have on it. Like it to me, it just kind of dragged on and kind of had weird shit and like the occasional nudity, which was nice, but like,
right.
That nudity
Also,
was
it was really
awkward as
confusing.
fuck.
Yeah, it was also really confusing to me until it clicked that the girl's name was Coffee, but like the
Yeah.
tattoo was whispering, just like coffee. I'm like, yeah, I could go for some.
Yeah, the caffeine is delicious.
It was so completely normal.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's at least my general thoughts on that one.
Neff.
So this was a heavy watch for me, just simply because like I can relate. So it's gonna get a little personal, and I don't mind. But so those moments where the world is spinning and everything's crazy and you just don't know what's going on, that is what the darkest moments of when my panic attacks and anxiety felt like. Just everything made no sense. Everything was dark and cold, and I felt heart to heart with that scene where she's sitting there before the tattoo talks to her and she's just debating whether or not to end it all, because honestly it felt like it wouldn't get better. And so it was a really hard watch in that situation. And then also her smile, I would call it body dysmorphia, where she's having issues with her skin. I can't even it does a really good job of relaying mental instability, and luckily I never was that bad like to the degree where I was sitting there doing drugs and stuff like that, or being a recovered junkie. But they did a really good job, for the first time that I've seen in a while, of mental illness actually being portrayed as not I feel like sometimes movies romanticize mental illness.
Yeah.
They
definitely can. Yeah.
And this made it the nasty ass fucking monster that it is. And yeah, comforting. Yeah. Oh, it's not part of this. Okay. But it didn't like bother me. It didn't, I hate this word, but trigger me or anything like that. I hate that word. But I don't know how else to, it didn't cause an episode or anything like that. It was a stark reality as to what it was, with a little bit of weirdness in it. Because that talk, I never have I had any of my tattoos talk to me. I've got a few of them, and they've never talked to me. So I guess thank fuck for that.
I mean, but at the same time, it might do you some good if your tattoos talk to you, because you've got Nadia tattooed on you, so she would just be like, "Fuck these assholes, kick them in the teeth." Like,
fuck your mother.
Yeah.
Neff, why am I getting a call? Jail to I followed Nadia's instructions.
Yeah.
They shot them all in the knees.
Yeah.
I ran out of bullets, so I threw my gun at them. What's the big deal?
By the way.
One thing with that, if somebody told me to go fuck myself and I could make it be like that, sure. If it feel that good, like she was clearly having a great time.
She was having an amazing time.
Orgasm of her
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely did seem bipolar. But what I loved movie is that they didn't romanticize the mental illness. It was
the
sex scenes were awkward as fuck, because she was basically making love to herself, thinking it was someone else, and that is incredibly uncomfortable. Like the nudity was like, it was one of those instances where I feel like the nudity was necessary to the film to prove the point. But like there's just so many things, and I wasn't sure how many things you guys caught, but you remember the art dealer that she meets in that shop?
Yeah.
He was the person who got her hooked on drugs. But he was the one that was pushing her to sell them, and then she had a mental break and tried to commit suicide and got sent to an asylum, and then he tries to get back into her life by controlling him. I wasn't sure how many people picked that up, because it's not outright stated. it's kind of
I sort of picked up the link of the guy and the drugs, but not like superfully, I guess.
Yeah,
I
like no, that
I feel like it wasn't explicitly like it wasn't an exposition dump, but I feel like they put enough threads there that they made it pretty clear what happened.
yeah.
The only thing
and
that I was a little unclear on, because there's like one conversation that I think she has with her roommate,
right.
where it makes sense, or she mentions, or no, I think it's when she's talking to her tattoo as well. Like there's a couple of mentions of it. Where it wasn't even so much that she was selling drugs for that guy, she was a drug mule for him. And I think the implication was like why she almost died may not have been a suicide. It probably was a suicide attempt, but I think the lie she told someone about it was that a bag of drugs ruptured inside of her,
Yeah.
which caused her to overdose. But whether or not that was true or she actually intentionally overdosed was kind of like, it was unclear.
Yeah, it seems like it was like I feel like it might have been a lie because I mean, it's mentioned that it wasn't him, it wasn't the whatever the hell his name was. Fuck, I can't remember his name.
Was he like the professor guy?
Yeah, art gallery guy.
The art dealer guy.
Yeah, art dealer guy. And
art dealer / drug dealer / pimp, maybe? Like, that guy looked like he wore several hats. What happened?
You roboted really bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, that's a strong reaction to pimp. Especially coming after the 30-minute discussion on the zombie rape movie.
That was the line.
Like,
That
really?
was the line.
I'm pretty sure I called JT a pimp at some point.
A pimp named Slipback.
A pimp named JT.
But I mean, so the scene with Sophie basically molesting her was also very awkward. Even though she was just sitting there and
Sophie or
it,
Cynthia?
Or Cynthia, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Cynthia, was basically molesting her. Because I don't feel she ever wanted it. She just didn't say no outright, but there was never a yes.
Up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she kept feeding she kept feeding her the pills.
Well, that was just absolutely, because they were drinking and then she was also trying to feed her pills, and I'm like, what the fuck is Cynthia trying to do? Like, actually get her to die? Like, get her to overdose on these pills and alcohol? And then there was also the implication that, like, in some way, and like, it kind of depends on which way you go with the movie, if there's something fantastical happening with the tattoo or if it's all in her head. And I think the movie makes a strong case that it is all in her head. But there was that implication that, like, somehow the tattoo had manifested itself for Cynthia, and that was why Cynthia got so fucking weird.
But the
because
tattoo had Cynthia's voice.
No, the tattoo had Coffee's voice.
Yeah, the tattoo had Coffee's voice.
Yeah,
okay, because she sounded very similar to Cynthia, just talking in a softer tone.
The actress who played Coffee also did the voice for the tattoo.
Okay.
But yeah, and that was probably one of the weirdest elements. Like it makes like almost, it's like 99.9%. It's all mental illness. It's all in her head. It's all a byproduct of the issues she's having. Except for how fucking weird Cynthia gets. Like, Cynthia goes complete, and maybe it's just because we don't see, like, Cynthia probably just had a mental breakdown and snapped, and is going down her own dark spiral, because that's kind of the theme of the movie with these characters. But the fact that we don't really see, like, we see, like, kind of an instigating factor for, like, why she would start spiraling as bad as she did. But it's like so swift, and she starts acting so fucking weird.
Yeah.
That it almost makes me buy that, like, the tattoo was actually some weird entity. But that's just, like, that's only a small element of the overall movie. Like, for the most part, it's just it's the mental illness, clearly.
Yeah, for sure.
On something like ecstasy, maybe, but again, like it's based on like what the movie shows us versus what we can guess, and just based on what the movie showed us, I thought the Cynthia derailment, like, it could also be attributed to like the movie kind of failed in that aspect of making that even a little bit more clear to the viewer, like what was going on with her. Or maybe that was intentional and they just wanted to leave that as a thread to like kind of fuck with your head even more. I don't know. But did you have more to say?
No, my closing statement is goodbye, Toes.
Oh man, yeah.
Goodbye, Toes. But I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick.
Okay.
And Fish can now take the floor.
Cool. I'm gonna go through my notes because it tells you everything you need to know about this that I thought. And it was really much hot takes. So first of all, what's going on in this movie so far? Oh, depressed woman gets a tattoo. That's what's going on. And it hurts. Someone please just fall in love with this girl. Come on. Okay, the convo on the couch was one of the realest I ever seen. So her and Nathan having that conversation on the couch where she was turning around and she was like, I don't, and she
when she tried to start making out with him and he pulled back and she's like, why didn't you fuck me?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then she was just like, I just want to be loved. Like, this is all I want. I want someone to actually like look at me and love me because I'm trying so hard and it's getting me nowhere. No one actually loves me, they're just using me.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's possessed. So then my favorite one is, so you walk in and your roommate has a cheese grater to her face. What are you doing? What do you do? Because he is so very oblivious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just like, so let's talk about last night. Nathan, she has something sharp against the side of her fucking face. Oh, this is a lesson in self-love from a tattoo. Girl, get a vibrator. Could have taught you the same thing. Yep, should have gotten a vibrator. It's much less judgmental. And then back to the whole, what is Cynthia? Is her tattoo a person now? Was it just a symbol for lesbian sex? And that was pretty much it. I don't know if I like this movie.
Yeah.
I there were some parts about it, I guess, that were good in the sense that, like, yes, they conveyed all of what Neffy had said, but
I feel I didn't feel like I really overall enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Also, regarding the tattoo, it's like, depressed girl gets tattoo. I want to add to that. It's like, and surprisingly, it's not a tramp stamp.
Right, he said that too. Stamp.
Yeah.
It is just like,
yeah, the tattoo. She actually got like a decent tattue. Like the tattoo actually looked really cool. I thought it did.
I thought it looked like shit, but
it looked like made up nonsense. But like as far as made up nonsense goes, I mean, I've seen worse.
Oh sure.
And it was just so downtrodden. Like, I have a hard time. I mean, to take it personally, like, I have a hard time connecting with being that depressed. I've been to the point where it's like, if a bus hit me today, I wouldn't worry about it. But
yeah, I've never hit quite that level.
Yeah,
exactly. So it was hard to connect to, and it was kind of like, there's so many the drug use and the implications of the drug use, like in my own personal life, like I've got a lot of family that are drug abusers, and to me, I have no patience for it.
Right.
And I'm kind of like, get over it. But I know that sounds harsh, and I know that, that's not them.
It's hard.
The drugs and the
it's having dealing with it close up and for a prolonged period of time. It's hard to have, like, the sympathy gets worn away,
and it's desensitizing.
And it's hard. Yeah, it's desensitizing, and the sympathy wears away, and all you're left with, if anything, is the tough love aspect, which is just like, fuck you, do better.
they didn't do anything to make me actually care about her. I was like, out to her wrist, I was like, just fucking do it already so this movie ends, because I can't, like, this is the most depressing movie I've seen in a while, and I've seen a lot of depressing movies recently.
Oh man, you want absolute depressing movie, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. That is still by far like the most like downtrodden, like, man, nobody has a happy ending in that movie.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance?
Oh no, I was thinking horror. Well, I don't even know what that is, but
Ah,
I
this
was
is a movie.
thinking of a Serbian film. Nobody has a happy ending.
A Serbian. Well,
that's very fucking depressing.
The only people who might have a happy ending in that movie are the people you really don't want to have a happy ending in that movie. Oh, Serbian film. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was a rough one too. But Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance was a lot more just like overall just like I don't feel like I feel sad.
Yeah, and I mean they did a good job
this is
at
just
giving you
horrifying.
And they did a good job at giving you this feeling because everything is muted in the movie. Like they're in a city where it looks like it's raining half of the time or snowing half of the time, and all the colors are muted.
Yeah, it's very
Even the
washed
texture
out.
colors are muted. Yeah, but it's not like I wanted to be entertained by this, and I just really wasn't. Like you just made me sad.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's not a popcorn muncher.
Mm-mm.
It's not a movie designed to like necessarily entertain you, which seems strange because movies are supposed to be entertainment. But
the Nathan reminded me of St. Andrew Scott, and I believe that's his name, but Moriarty, the newer.
Oh yeah, it did kind of look like him.
Cookie.
Yeah,
he did kind of look like him. I think adorable, and he just wasn't what he wanted to be. What she needed. But he knew he couldn't be, and he was trying to be the best he could for her. Except for when he walks in and she's got a fucking cheese grater on her face, and I'm just like, hello? You're not even going to question that. That's just...
It's just Tuesday, man.
Which also kind of makes sense, because again, on the couch, he's like, I'm so tired of this self-deprecating bullshit of yours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel you, dude. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. They were both in. Yeah, and it seemed like they were both no, because they knew each other from when they were younger.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say it was also
together.
Yeah, it seemed like it, or at least at similar points. No, that's not where they met up. They knew each other when they were in high school.
Yeah, because she's like, why didn't you fuck me in 9th grade?
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I can go through my notes. I don't have nearly as many. Wait, I'm scrolling. Okay, I got a few notes. Whatever, I'll skim through. I'll hit the best points. The movie starts with a close-up on our main character's toes. This is relevant. Which is not something I noticed the first time I watched it, but the second time through, it starts on that extreme close-up on Coffee's toes, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of clever.
I'm back.
Hello.
Sorry, Braxy didn't want to get out of the tub.
Oh, yeah. Cats be like that. Yeah, I was starting on my notes for Comforting Skin, and the fact that, like, did you notice, because you only watched it the one time, so you might not have caught it, but the very first shot in the movie is a close-up on Coffee's toes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Egg whites can double for hairspray?
That was gross.
Yeah, like... What was that? Like, she said she had to use egg whites because she was out of hairspray.
Looking at her hair now, now I'm thinking about how you got slop in your hair.
Yeah, that was more just like, you can do that? Like,
yeah, egg whites and mayonnaise is a good product, like especially if you have very dry hair.
Okay.
Egg whites and mayonnaise is a good hair product to utilize.
Okay. That was more just like she mentioned it. I'm like, that's the weirdest shit I've ever heard. Like, I have to write this down to like see if anyone else knows what the fuck that's about.
Good product.
Kiki kitty.
This man likes his sausage. The whole thing, the whole sausage scene with Nathan.
Like, why can't I just get a side of sausage with my sausage?
That whole like that. I think that was our introduction to Nathan, and I think that whole scene sums him up perfectly as a character.
And that's pretty much that kind of thing is what made me love him. I mean,
yeah, no, he's Nathan.
That, like...
Nathan is best boy for sure.
Yeah.
Point. Are they actual sausage links,
or are they the patty things? Because I like my. Like, I don't like them. I don't like the idea of them all being connected together. Like, because like it was presented as like he has social anxiety and like it's kind of a step for him, and like maybe that's why he's being a little bit awkward. But it got to a point in there where it's just like he's just fucking with this waitress. Like he is absolutely aware of what he's doing, and he's just fucking with her, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
I gave the movie points for fresh tattoo authenticity with the plastic wrap, because a lot of movies and TV shows, they don't do the plastic wrap on the fresh tattoo, even if once the plastic wrap comes off, the skin is not red in any way, there's no flecks of blood or anything like that, so not fully accurate. But just the fact that they had the plastic wrap on there, I was like, all right, presumably the people who made this movie have at least seen what a fresh tattoo looks like. Nothing like the endorphin rush of a fresh tattoo to wash away your emotional issues.
You gotta cut out there. Fresh tattoo to what?
To wash away your emotional issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, as someone who's gotten tattoos, I'm like, yeah, I get that. Like, I've had that high she had after the fact, where it's just like, I feel good. I want to blow my juvenile wad all over your tits is the type of line you usually only get to hear in the highest quality of porn flicks.
I have that written down as well.
Yeah, Nathan has the best lines. When your tattoo starts crawling all over your skin and talking to you, you might be having a bad trip. In all caps, because god damn it, I feel like it requires this form of emphasis. Who the fuck gave this woman a gun? Who allowed her to have a firearm? Like, what?
I mean,
who thought this was a good idea?
If she was a drug mule, she had easy access to guns.
Fair enough, but it's just like, she pulled out the gun and I'm like, I know people who have had mental issues. They're not allowed to have guns. Who the fuck let her have this gun?
That doesn't mean you can't buy it.
I'm aware.
Trunk.
I'm aware. I know how the world works. I'm just saying. I was like, why? Why would anyone let her have a weapon?
And did anybody even know she had it?
That's a valid point.
Because she was hiding it. She had it in a box in that secret open place that she used to go to that looked abandoned.
Yeah, that's a fair point. She probably had it secretly. She would have had to, is the only thing I can say.
Follow up to that, why use the knife down your wrist when you could just end it with a gun?
I mean, clearly she wasn't in her right mind. It was brief, but there was tattoo sex. I'm counting it. Half an hour in, and we're full tilt into Weird Town. You walk it. Yeah, here it is. Here's where me and Fish have almost the exact same note. You walk in to see your roommate freaking out with a cheese grater against her face, and you act like everything's normal. That alone says a lot about how common these sorts of things happen around her. You know shit's gotten bad when your tattoo needs to sit you down for an intervention. Now this is definitely tattoo sex. The tattoo is clingier than she is. Does this count as public tattoo sex when they're in the elevator and the tattoo is feeling neglected and starts fucking her in the elevator? I'm like, does this count as public tattoo sex? I think it might. The movie proves that as weird and fucked up and unnerving as a living tattoo is, it's nothing compared to an awkward family dinner.
Oh yeah,
that
was
family
pretty
dinner was like the cringiest thing fucking ever.
Right? It's like having dinner with my parents.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh.
I think the tattoo made her go to the Oh, so here was my theory on the whole thing. The tattoo made her go to the family dinner and to go see her old boyfriend right afterwards, in order to experience the before she was talking about in the scene before the family dinner. And then also, not just to experience it, but to utterly destroy her before, so the tattoo could have her all to herself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's reinforced by her going out and burning all the old photos of her past. The music. I think that's probably one of the strongest elements of this movie was the fucking insane music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could just listen to this movie and have a perfect, like, not even the dialogue, but just, like, listen to the soundtrack of this movie, and you'd be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know exactly what this is about. When you're fucking your own tattoo, a vacuum cleaner becomes a very unique kind of sex toy. Does that count? I think it might count.
That's an awkward ass scene.
Tattoo vacuum cleaner sex. Movie gets points for turning pop rocks into a sex toy.
Yeah. I forgot about that scene.
That was that whole montage of basically her having an orgy all around the house with her tattoo.
She was having sex with her tattoo.
You're just a party girl who's passed her expiry date and hasn't seemed to figure that out yet.
Oh, dude, that's such a good
burn.
Line.
Right?
God, Nathan has the best lines. The tattoo has fully become fully self-aware, using the concept of I as a weapon. That was creepy. Because before that, it's just like we, us, and then it turns it around and it's like I have desires, I have needs. But yeah, really just a standard bad relationship full of all the usual tropes, but the fact that it's a tattoo / her own broken brain is what makes it really unnerving.
You're kind of cutting out for me.
Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
How do I do this with a video call?
I think if you just leave and rejoin, it's kind of the same deal.
So leave call and then rejoin.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Cool. It didn't fuck anything up. Yeah, and then that was the point where Cynthia started being weird. Is Cynthia actually just trying to kill her with boozing her up and feeding her sleeping pills? Or does she just want to date rape her? What in the fuck, Cynthia? So the tattoo manifested itself for Cynthia, gave her the good sex, and made her obsessively addicted to what it can do. Oh, it's like, what? She's gone completely off the deep end, and the diner scene proves that actress could totally play a very good Harley Quinn. When she's in the diner and she almost tries sucking the dude off, and she's just laughing and sobbing and being completely insane. My other comment for that scene was, ma'am, this is a Denny's? Cynthia shouldn't be in charge of looking after a carton of eggs, let alone a mentally unhinged human being. When Nathan leaves Cynthia in charge of coffee, I was like, what the fuck, Nathan? Why? If only someone had told her about laser tattoo removal. Movies through and through unnerving as hell, getting more and more so as it goes along. The grating, chaotic classical music plays a big part in it, as do the performances. It's a tough choice between this one and DeadGirl for which of them features the most uncomfortable nudity and sex. Feels like it did feel like it dragged a bit in the second half. Like, once the tattoo, like, kind of starts giving her the cold shoulder, like, that part of it felt like it kind of dragged for me.
Right.
But then it kicked back up into high gear insanity at the end.
Reminded me of Bates Motel.
A little bit. Yeah.
I'll be right back. 1 second.
Okay.
Sure.
Um, and then this one I watched on Tubi, which also featured commercials. I have only a single note for the commercials on this one. Right off the bat, we've got yet another of the ridiculous anti-vaping commercials. Given the amount that I vape, where the fuck are the wiggly worms under my skin? Because that was the premise. Like, oh, the evil of vaping puts worms under your skin. And I'm like, where are my worms? I could use those bitches. And that was the only commercial I got. Tubi won as far as over Voodoo, as far as having to deal with commercials, because I only got the single one at the start of the movie, and everything else, like the rest of the movie, just played through totally fine. But yeah, that was comforting skin.
Comforting skin.
Which means drag was deliberate. Well, yeah, no, I get that it was deliberate. Like, I understood, like, contextually in the plot of the movie what was happening. I just thought that the scenes during that segment felt slow. They felt a little draggy. Your parents provide you with everything, including your first mental problems. It's true.
Oh, Kettle's little kettle double fits in there perfectly.
It does. Yeah, it works out. So now we got points. We got scoring.
Got points. Oh shit.
I'm trying to do this in such a way where it doesn't just block chat. It's like a starter kit. So let's see. I've collected all the votes and everything like that. I've done all the math ahead of time, so we don't have to have that awkward period where I'm just sitting here typing in numbers for like 10 minutes. So that's all good. So then it just amounts to how we want to distribute like our picks. I figure, like, I guess we can just go through one by one.
Just me and you.
Once everyone gets back, because I mean, I guess the show's actually just over.
No, I'm sorry. I realized I I'm so sorry.
But we'll wait. Well, while we wait for Kettle to get back, I'll go through my picks. So for the best kill category, I picked Valentine, and yeah, Paige getting drilled and then zapped was by far the best kill.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's all good. We're doing the point categories, and I figured we could each go through one by one and say the categories and what we gave it to and everything like that.
Okay.
And then I'll do the final point roundup thing, because I've got it all written down. I've done all the math. So that shouldn't be nearly as long and awkward as it was the last month. But yeah, best kill, Valentine, Paige's death, Denise Richards in the hot tub. Like, that by far stood out as like the most entertaining and creative death in all the movies. Best characters, I gave it to Comforting Skin. I thought the characters felt very real, and it was very interesting seeing such a deep dive and a realistic dive on characters with the issues that they had. I thought was really interesting. Worst movie, I gave it to Valentine, because I think of the four, I enjoy Valentine, but I think of the four, it's the fact that it is basically just an 80s slasher that doesn't really do much new, like, as opposed to the other ones, which all kind of brought something new and interesting to the table, makes it the worst movie in my opinion. It was also the comfiest movie, for sure, because I mean, it stood the test of time, and the fact that, like, I have seen that movie and I've had it on in the background just doing other stuff so many times means that, like, yeah, I can put that movie on, I can zone out and just do whatever the hell it is I'm doing. Scariest movie I put down as DeadGirl. I thought that one had the creepiest atmosphere and overall presence. Most disturbing movie I put is Comforting Skin, because like the mental issues and everything like that, like that's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Sleeper Hit I also had as Comforting Skin, because I had no idea what to expect going into that movie, but I found myself actually like really enjoying it. Most forgettable movie, it's probably going to be unpopular. I have Audition down as the most forgettable.
Really?
Yeah, because again, I've seen all these before, and while it had been a while since I had seen Audition, I remembered the least of it. And the fact that like it does, like the first half of the movie is basically just slow build up makes it less memorable to me than the other ones. Best writing, Dead Girl. If for nothing else, then for every line of dialogue that JT said. Best score, also Dead Girl. And then my ranked movies, number 1, Dead Girl. Number 2, Comforting Skin. Number 3, Valentine. Number 4, Audition. And putting Audition at the bottom, I think that's gonna ruffle feathers. But at the same time, like, I think it's just because I've seen other Takashi Miike films, and I like them all better. Like I do enjoy Audition, but I honestly feel like it's at times a little boring.
Oh, see, I find the slice of life aspect interesting, so.
Oh yeah, and that's fair. Like I kind of don't like myself for putting it at the bottom. But at the same time, if I'm being honest with myself, of the movies, like the one that I would be least likely to go back and rewatch, like or want to rewatch and watch again, is Audition.
Really?
Yeah, like I would rather watch any of the 3 other movies before rewatching Audition. And I like Audition. I think Audition's a very good movie, but of these 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our custom categories for the month, which are most eligible bachelor and most eligible bachelorette, which was basically the idea behind it of just like look at the dudes in the movie. If there's one in particular in the movie that you're like, that's the most eligible bachelor, and then working your way down from there, and the same thing for most eligible bachelorette. So my most eligible bachelor, number 1, Comforting Skin, because Nathan is best boy. Number yeah. Number 2, Audition, because while that guy was, maybe a little short-sighted and didn't really want to do his homework, he was still a really nice guy. Like, he was a solid dude. He seemed very nice, and it seemed like, if he was gonna go as far as marrying somebody else, he would have been a nice husband. And he seemed like a good dad too. Number 3, Valentine, which is difficult because just about every single guy in Valentine is either a creepy scumbag or a serial killer. But at the same time, with Valentine, you have David Boreanaz and the potential of him putting on women's underwear and dancing around for you, so that'd be fun. And then number 1, or the least eligible bachelor, Dead Girl. Because every single guy in that movie, outside of the drunken deadbeat dad, was an absolute scumbag.
Yeah.
Most eligible bachelorette category. Number 1, Dead Girl. Specifically, the Dead Girl. Because, you know what? Get her out of the chains, give her a nice shower, maybe a pretty dress. That's a lady. You don't gotta be worried about walking down a dark alley. Ever. You don't gotta worry about a rabid dog running up on you and biting you on the buttocks. Because she will tear them to fucking pieces and grin while she's doing it. Number 2, Valentine. Because Denise Richards is very pretty. Number 3, Audition. because, you know, when she's not being an absolute creepy yandere, the main lady from that movie, you know, she seemed nice when she wasn't being psychotic. And, you know, if she's not doing it for you, you got like 29 other ladies to choose from who also seemed very nice. And then number last, Comforting Skin, because Coffee is adorable, but damn, she got a lot of problems. I don't have the tolerance to deal with that level of psychosis. It would worry me. So yeah, those are my categories. So I guess Kettle can go next.
All right. For best kill, I also had the Valentine drill scene because that was just amazing.
Yeah.
For best characters, I had Audition just because of the creepy factor, and I generally do like the dad and the son and just the general acting and all of that. Worst movie, I went with Comforting Skin just because I didn't feel it was really horror, and like, yeah, it was just kind of uncomfortable sometimes, despite like some of the better parts of it. Comfiest movie, I went with Audition. Like I said, I love that late 90s Japanese aesthetic. Like, I could, you know, until it gets creepy, it's very very nice. I also went with that as being the scariest because that girl is sneaky and can come into your house and just poison you, and then be like, "Well, you're about to be tortured now." Like, great.
Yeah.
Most disturbing movie, DeadGirl, for obvious fucking reasons. Stop raping her, Jesus.
It feels so wrong to laugh at that, but at the same time,
no, I mean, I exaggerated it for comedic effect.
Yeah,
like, the point stands.
Yeah, the point definitely stands.
Sleeper hit, I went with Audition just because, like, I wasn't entirely sure what to expect. Not that I thought it would necessarily be bad, but it was just kind of like, all right, you know, we'll see. Most forgettable for me was Comforting Skin because I'm basically gonna remember Nathan, the nudity, and some of the other weirder shit that went on with it. But aside from that, probably not a lot. Best writing, I gave Audition just because I don't know. I liked it even though it was subtitles, so I don't know how well everything translated.
Well, the subtitles were very clear. You could read them clearly, so how could it not be best writing? No, none of the other movies had writing on them at all. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Best gore, I went with Audition.
That's valid.
The
yeah,
man.
it was a tough pick for me between DeadGirl and Audition
ding,
for gore.
Ding. Yeah, all of that was oof. So for the rankings, yeah, my favorite of them was Audition, followed by DeadGirl, then Valentine, and then Comforting Skin. My most eligible bachelor. Funnily enough, you and we had the exact same order. Comforting Skin.
Oh, we did.
Nathan,
yeah,
for bachelor. Yeah. Followed by Audition because he's a good dad and the son seems good, and also rest in peace, gang, little pupper asshole.
If he had married either me or you, Kettle, or pretty much anyone here, that dog would have lived a long, happy life.
Oh, I know.
Such a good boy.
And then, kind of the same reasons you, Valentine, they're shitty people. One's a murderer, but not everybody in the movie is a rapist. And then DeadGirl because everybody in the movie is a rapist, except for stepdad, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna the Bachelorette.
I'm just gonna spoil it right now. Everyone put DeadGirl dead last for most eligible bachelor, which I think is very valid.
Now for eligible bachelorettes, for first place, I went with Audition, not because of the one girl, but because you have a choice of all the other lovely ladies who surely will probably not torture and kill you. Followed by, oddly enough, I went for Comforting Skin because it's just one of those, like, just because she's eligible doesn't mean that it's a good thing. Like, like you could just go to coffee and be like, hey, let's go out, and she would be glued to your arm forever.
I love the logic behind that. I saw how high you put it, and I was genuinely curious, like what your reasoning was going to be behind that, and I did not see that coming. Like that's
it's not
such a
because
good reasoning.
Eligible does not necessarily mean good.
Yeah,
like, it's just like, hey, let's go. And I mean, yeah, like you said, yeah, she's pretty hot. Like, you know, all the other things aside. So after that, I have Valentine, because everybody's just kind of awful, but like, like, you know, they were just kind of in third place because, again, DeadGirl is in last because they're fucking dead. Like, and also in the movie's case, the main DeadGirl, she ran off, so she's not eligible at all. You ain't gonna and I don't think she's gonna want to go on a date with anybody anyway. And then there's the other girl that got turned into a zombie, but again,
she's spoken for.
Stop. Well, that's fine, yes. But also, how about we don't turn her into a fucking rape zombie? But yeah, that was my reasoning on the things. Yeah, because I mean, it's like I can't put coffee below like the zombie rape.
That's valid.
That's my list.
Nev.
So my best kill, of course, is Valentine, the drill scene, of course. Best characters was Comforting Skin. Worst movie, in my opinion, was Valentine. Comfiest movie was Valentine, though. Scariest movie was DeadGirl, because it made me almost cry. Most disturbing movie was Comforting Skin. Sleeper hit, Comforting Skin. Most forgettable movie for me was Valentine. Best writing was Comforting Skin for me. Best gore, in my opinion, was Audition.
So, what I found to be hilarious is that when you sent me your picks, we had the exact same category picks up until most forgettable movie. Everything else, like, we had the exact same picks.
Oh, man. And then most eligible bachelor for me was Audition.
Oh, wait, ranked movies.
Oh, sorry, ranked movies. So ranking of movies was Skin for me. 2 was Audition. 3 was DeadGirl, and 4 was Valentine. And then eligible bachelor was Audition is number 1. Comforting Skin is 2 because Nathan, good boy.
Nathan, best boy.
Best boy. 3 was Valentine, and then 4 was DeadGirl.
Can't imagine why.
And then eligible bachelorettes was Comforting Skin for me. I felt that Coffee, while yes, she was insane, I feel that with the right amount of help, she could actually be a really strong human being and potentially a very good bachelorette. 2 was Valentine because Denise Richards.
Denise Richards is very pretty.
It's not even so much that she's pretty. I just liked her character in that.
No,
one.
she's great.
She's like, I'm the slut, but not really.
I like Denise Richards. She was like that it girl for around that time. Like that, she basically had kind of a similar career path as like, you know, Jessica Alba, Megan Fox. But in my opinion, Denise Richards was the best actress out of all of them. Right. Like Denise Richards didn't really have much in the way of acting range, but like she knew where her range was, and she made the best out of it that she could.
She really did. And then 3 was DeadGirl. 'Cause sure. She's definitely a step above the girl from Audition. Because, good lord, no thank you. I would not. No. I'm sorry. I don't like home and... No,
but the woman, no. the creepy woman in Audition was such a good cook, though.
Stop!
Homemade meals every night, piping hot.
No.
I'm done. I'm not saying it anymore. You're safe, fish.
Oh my god. Yeah, so that was my lineup. Fish.
It's
your turn.
I'm about to throw up.
Think about Simon and Simon being a good boy.
Oh. Best
Think about
kill-
Nathan being the best boy.
Yeah, Nathan is best boy.
Best boy. Best kill, definitely JT's death. I was, again, so freaking vindicated by his death. I was like, yes! Kill him, rip his lips off. Best characters, I thought Audition. Simply because I think they're very human. And I really did adore that. Worst movie, no fucking surprises, Valentine. I thought it sucked and I wanted to die in a fire. Comfiest movie and scariest movie. So both of those are Audition for me. Comfy because I mean it really was like it reminded me of almost like an old detective novel in the very beginning. Scariest because it did screw with my head so bad at the end. I was just like, what? Most disturbing to me was DeadGirl, and also Sleeper Hit was DeadGirl, simply because I didn't think, based on Kettle's initial reaction, I was like, oh, what am I going to get into? What am I going to see? And then I was actually, this is one of my favorites out of all of them. And disturbing because it was pretty damn disturbing. Like, that whole comment on society was disturbing. Most forgettable, Comforting Skin. Kind of similar to Kettle's reasons, but mostly because, again, like, I'm so desensitized to that whole lifestyle and I can't relate to it, and it was just I wasn't feeling it. Best writing, Audition. I thought the story was perfect. Best gore, DeadGirl, because there was a lot of gore in that movie. The dog coming or dying in chunks, the bullet wounds, the bloody face that JT had at the end that just kept bleeding too.
Yeah.
Ranked movies, Audition was my favorite. DeadGirl was a close second. Comforting Skin was at third only because Valentine can go fuck off. Most eligible bachelor comfort. We had the same Kettle. Most comforting or most eligible bachelor skin because Nathan best boy. I just want to take that puppy angel home. Audition because I love both the dad and the son. Like I was like that son is gonna grow up and be such a good husband. Valentine.
You think that kid's getting married after what he walked into with his dad and his almost stepmom?
Spritz. He was just like, I was like, smart kid for covering your mouth. Good job. Valentine because of Angel. He was the only one that was adorable.
David Boreanaz has got some fucking charm to him.
He really does.
He is such a charming man.
For the character that he was supposed to play with the flaws he had, he was trying to be good for his girlfriend. And then
baby, I love you, but all your friends are assholes. They gotta go.
Are we watching you or are we watching the show you? Joe. And then DeadGirl's dead last because fuck every male in that movie. Most eligible bachelorette, Audition, because she was super cute besides being super creepy. But even that had its charm to it. Valentine, because same reasons as everybody else.
Denise Richards is pretty.
Piece of work. And she's got the sweetest expressions. Like, I love her eyebrow contrast to the rest of her face. DeadGirl, because Zombie Chick was hot. Like, she was so erotic in, like,
a bestial way.
Yeah.
Like a feral way.
Exactly. Like, it was like, if she had sex, it would have been really primal and really hot to watch. And then most eligible bachelorette for dead last is Comfort Skin, because as my all says, if you can't love yourself, then how the hell are you gonna love anybody else?
All right. And then for our static categories, we got ranked body counts. Number 1 in the body count department is Valentine with 9 kills. Number 2, DeadGirl with 5 kills. And now the number might seem higher based on like what you see in the movie, but I'm taking it at its word that if she bites you, you're basically dead. So the jock, even though we don't see him die, we see him at a point where he's already deeply infected and he's dead. Wheeler, JT, and Joanne all died. Wait, body counts, yeah. And then Audition had 2 deaths, the wife at the front, and then presumably the yandere at the end.
Yeah.
Even though she opens her eyes are already open. Even though she starts talking, I'm gonna read between the lines and put on my Takashi Miike interpretation hat and say that, yeah, no, she died.
Yeah.
And that was just some weird mindfuck hallucination shit at the end. And then Comforting Skin at the bottom because nobody died unless you count the tattoo entity.
And I don't.
Yeah, neither did I. And then we have the ranked sex counts. Comforting Skin at the top because I counted tattoo sex, and there was a hell of a lot of tattoo sex going on. 6 total that I counted. Number 2, DeadGirl with 3. Audition next with 1 because presumably when he went to bed with her in the when he goes to bed with her in the hotel, like it's heavily implied that they bang.
Yeah. For sure.
Even though that's the moment where the movie goes full on Miike. Because he gets into bed and then he rolls over and it's the next morning. In a single shot, which is weird. And that's where all the weird shit really all the weird head trippy shit really starts taking place. But they banged. And then Valentine at the bottom, because as much as everyone in that movie was looking to get laid and there were a lot of close calls, nobody actually ever had sex in that movie. So yeah, that's how those rank out. And then we got the point system. All the movies got points for all the different things. Would you like me to go through them individually, or do you want me to go straight to the grand total?
Let's go to the grand total.
Yeah, just total.
Total, yeah. So grand total points, Audition walked away with 176 points, making it the winner for this month. Comforting Skin walked away with 172, putting it in second place. DeadGirl came away with 152 in third place, and Valentine's down at the bottom with 140.
Where it should be.
Now, how this ties into anything, we still don't know, because I haven't decided what the fuck the points actually mean or the ranking system actually means. But now we can stack these points and these movies up against last month's movies, and we have a full grand ranking thing, which I made a little graphic for. So here we go. This is how the movies are stacking up right now. The Bride is still in the lead. I think it's got like 180 points, followed by Audition. Frankenstein's Army and Comforting Skin are tied with the exact same score for third place. Fourth place, Lady Frankenstein. Fifth place, DeadGirl. Sixth place, Valentine. And seventh place, there's a movie even less liked in terms of points than Valentine, and that was Flesh for Frankenstein. which I had to censor because the only decent poster I could find for the movie has that woman's breasts right out there. So even though they were very tiny nipples in the graphic, I still put a black bar over them. So yeah, there you go.
Sometimes, Otto, you have to fuck life in the gallbladder.
Yup. So there's that. Take it away now. And yeah, I think that'll do it for Spookshow Syndicate for the month of February.
Oh, shit.
We'll be back next month. Next month of March, we got a theme going already. We got movies picked out already. There's gonna be the Luck of the Irish. And we're gonna be and this time we each picked a movie. These last 2 months, I've been curating pretty much the entire thing myself. So now we're gonna get actual decent variants out of the movies we watch because everyone's bringing a pick to the table. Let me see. Where did I don't have it pulled up. I think I can do it from memory. My pick was Leprechaun 4 in Space, the best Leprechaun movie. Kettle, what was your pick?
Mine is Maniac Cop.
Okay. Neff?
I
can remember it if you can.
I cannot. I'm sorry. I didn't.
You picked The Hallow.
Yes, thank you.
And then Fish.
Grabbers.
And they all have either some form of Irish theming. Grabbers and The Hallow are actually Irish-made films. And then, Leprechaun is Leprechaun. And Maniac Cop takes place over the course of St. Patrick's Day. So that should be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I think that does it. I don't think... Is there anything else? Am I forgetting anything?
Not that I can think of.
Well,
no.
Thanks for hanging out and doing this.
Yeah, it was
better.
fun.
Yeah, this month went way better than last month.
Mm-hmm.
It's coalescing. It's coming together. It's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
It will be if you make me watch Valentine.
What are you talking about? Like it's better to go downhill than uphill. Like it's easier to walk downhill.
Yeah, but it's harder on your joints.
And it's not a challenge.
I like it flat.
You like the flat sausage.
like DeadGirl's Heartbeat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.